right. Yeah, Chad, I'll be done in about 30 minutes. If you don't want to watch anything to do with Diablo 4, feel free to just tune out for 30 minutes. I don't care what you say. I actually am interested. I obviously am massively addicted to Wukong and I want to log in. At the same time, it's my duty as a Diablo gamer to check out what the fuck this is. I skipped it yesterday thinking it was going to be complete dog shit and devoid of any sort of actual valid content, but it seems like everyone's been freaking out over this, saying it's really interesting and really big changes, so... you know, why not actually look at it myself firsthand rather than, you know, thinking.
The demon child Aldkin, who's a massacre, who's a...
You really... Plateaus also...
Come on, okay, let's see the intro video. Let's see this epic intro video. Oh, come on, bro. Yeah, what the well, I got 10,000 gigabytes. I got 10,000 gigabytes. Where's the part with the stalking starts? Mouse over? Don't tell me to... Okay, I'm literally there, bro. I'm literally there. Wait, that doesn't go. How long does this shit go for? No, it goes for like 5 minutes.
In Vessel of Hatred, we travel south to Nahantu.
Oh, shit.
A region with both deep ancient jungles and vast sprawling plains. It's the last stretch of land in Sanctuary's eastern continent, and we've packed it full of experiences for every type of player.
Oh, shit.
In this expansion, there's a whole lot to explore under the dark canopy of Nahantu.
Shit.
Nahantu is the southernmost region of the eastern continent that Diablo 4 has been taking place in. It's the last region that we haven't visited yet so far in the game, but it is one that we've been to before in Diablo.
There's lots of new areas. We have 6 in total. 4 of them are jungle themed, and then we have 2 that are Red Rock Canyon, but each one of them has their own unique identity. When you first arrive in Nahantu, you're in this place called Lingering Hatred. This is high treetops canopies where you're almost walking amongst the branches high above the jungle floor.
Imagine a thick canopy that the light is just barely poking through.
The whole area has been infected by this thing called the Hollows infestation. The Hollows are a new enemy that's associated with Mephisto. They themselves are kind of like a tar-like substance creature born straight out of the depths of hell.
It feels a little twisted. There's a sickness to the area itself.
Humans have ventured into this deep part of the jungle where there's all this poisonous plants and flora. The dregs actually started experimenting with eating these hallucinogens, and it put them into this aggressive psycho rage.
The dregs were pretty fun because we were able to push more variety in the monster family. You have one of these tall dregs and then half of a body of another dreg on top of it, kind of controlling it and telling it where to go and tossing poisonous bombs at the player. When you come across it, it's very memorable.
And then we've also got the area of Tenganse, where you've got the Tenganse Plateau, which is full of these red-rocked plateaus and canyons.
Imagine getting up above the land. Those gigantic walls have pockets inside where monsters can live. It offered up a lot of...
Why would you confuse yourself with another human and then turn off the brain of the other human? Like, what advantage do you have by combining like a midget with like a big guy? Wouldn't it better to have as 2 separate beings? So one guy could hit and the other guy could throw? How is... You totally get the extra range, extra half-meter of range, dude. True, worth it.
Opportunity to bring back a monster family like the Wukong.
Oh, shit.
We're bringing them back in a new way here as a fully fleshed out monster family with multiple classes.
I fucking hate those guys.
What a brute force looks like, what a caster looks like. They are very much apex predators, and we're definitely in their territory.
I hate those guys.
And then there's a little sub-area called the Skittering Earth.
The name alone...
Wait, Lacoonies are the ones that are OP in D3 that just one-shot you, right, with like a fucking range attack? Oh, shit. And they were in D2 as well, weren't they? Were they in D2 as well? Or is it just D3? I can't remember. Yeah, they were.
Makes your skin crawl.
And it's bug infested, and you can see how the bugs have destroyed the jungles and kind of input their influence on it. Within the Field of Giants, you have these giant corpses of these long-dead demons that humans have begun to mine away at for their resources. While they've got a lot of use out of them, they're also toxic to the land around it.
The notion of massive demons walking Sanctuary 1,000 years ago is really thought-provoking.
Plateau's also got just this beautiful color scheme to the lighting. It's really lovely to be there.
Yeah.
And then horrific at the same time.
Like,
you know, it's great.
Why? Like, what happened? Wait, I'm confused. What happened? It's thought-provoking, but wait, what's the law behind that? I'm confused. The thoughts that are being provoked. I mean, yeah. Like, why was there massive demons walking around? What happened to them? I guess that's his point, right? The Eternal War, that's it? Okay. Create the law yourself. PvE has weightless law. I mean, I like the idea of big-ass fucking, beings that were alive. I mean, it's kind of like dinosaurs, right? It's like the dinosaur meme. It's cool seeing dinosaur bones. Yeah, I watched a TV show recently, Raised by Wolves, and there was a similar sort of vibe. It was cool. These fucking huge bone piles of these ancient creatures, and that was the only place that, like, foliage would grow. It was kind of cool. It was cool. Praise Soul, bro. Dude, fuck, man. Why'd they have to cancel that show? I enjoyed that show. I thought it was good, bro. It was good until it wasn't good, but, like, I would have still preferred to see it keep going. I wanted to just at least complete the story, bro. At least complete the fucking story, bro. God damn. You know?
The mercenaries in Vessel of Hatred are a group of people who we like to describe as ordinary people with extraordinary skills. They have the same level of will to fight against the demons of hell.
And there's 4 mercs that you can collect over the course of the campaign. Starts with Rahir, a blacksmith and a shield bearer, is a more defensive fighter.
He's able to go in there and soak up damage, use his shield as a bulwark against the enemy.
You meet him early on in the campaign, and he's one who introduces you to the mercenary network. You end up finding acquisition quests for 3 other mercs that you can find throughout the course of the story.
Subo, the drunken archer, is going to work really well for people who want someone who's out of the main melee, in the back, offering utility and that kind of range support.
Then we have Ariana, a berserker crone, who's a melee combat fighter, close range. She's got a really cool combat meter, a massacre meter, where you need to keep killing enemies to get the meter to be filled.
She's got a bunch of really interesting utility skills that you can kind of build in.
Finally, we have the demon child Aldkin, who's a magic user who can transform himself from human form to demon form and join you in combat.
There's this really great reinforcement ability where you can take one of the mercenary skills and attach it to one of your powers so that when you use that skill, it calls them in to do a specific skill.
With the mercenaries for Vessel of Hatred, one of the things we are expanding on is the skill tree. For Diablo 3, you had a very basic type of mercenary, but this time you can actually push a little bit more into the skill tree and make the mercenary the way you would want to play.
Going through each mercenary progression arc and outfitting their skill tree so that it's complementary to your character build, I think that's where the fun in the mercenary system really lies.
The Dark Citadel is a new in-game feature that's coming in Vessel of Hatred. It's an entirely
what the skill tree I'm sorry, what the max skill tree look like? I'm sorry, I'm coming
Carrying
back.
through each
Oh, fuck, my milk bottle just fell over, dude. Enemies never here, slow by 40%, 4 seconds. Pittance, okay. So we got like, okay, so, I mean, your skill, it's a little skill tweak. You can go down, you can go left, or you can go right, and you can pick okay. I mean, at least there's a tree. You know, they could just have them, like, with no tree. That's something. You got, you know, it looks like you're going to either pick left or right. And then you get what you get. Okay, it's got a more complex tree than your own character. Well, it's actually a meaningful decision there, isn't there? You can't...
mercenary progression arc and outfitting their skill tree so that it's complementary to your character build. I think that's where the fun in the mercenary system really lies.
The Dark Citadel is a new in-game feature that's coming in Vessel of Hatred. It's an entirely cooperative player experience. All the mechanics within it are based around you working together with your party members to solve the challenges and face the first Khazra hordes within.
One of the outcomes of the Mage Wars is this giant crater and all the souls that were kind of lost in it from those wars.
The goal of the first Khazra, who are kind of the original Khazra, they're using the powers within the Citadel found within this crater to perform experiments to try and bring back their Dark God.
Only recently, people have started going missing. They head into the Khazra region, they disappear, never to be seen again. So it's clear that whatever they're planning is about to come to fruition, and your job as the players to get in there and stop it.
Citadels are a place where we take what is the best part of Diablo, combat, and we test it in a different way, which is adding in cooperative mechanics that you have to manage on top of that.
For example, a boss has an attack, and as a player, you have to collect an item that allows you to reflect the attack back at him. So there's a little bit of a Twitch level mechanic there. Where you actually have to time your reaction shot. What's interesting about it when you get multiple people in there, we're each responsible for reflecting that shot once, so we all have to sort of master the timing of that move. You can't do that kind of thing without coordinating as a team, and that's sort of the example of what Citadel gameplay.
Shit, bro, look at this.
You can't do that for reflecting that shot once, so we all have to sort of master.
Oh, fuck, the ball's going out, bro.
The timing of that move.
You gotta be fucking fast, cunt. Oh shit, you're gonna lose, bro. God damn, that's a mechanic right there. That's a mechanic right there, bro. For real, for real. Okay, dude, that fuck. I mean, do you know what? There's a massive lack of mechanics in D4 currently on their current bosses. Like, there's a lot of them are super uninteresting and shit and just not very fun to fight. That mechanic at least looks like something. How would that look like as a melee? I guess you shoot sort of to the side, then you have to run out and get it real quick or something? I don't know.
Move. You can't do that kind of thing without coordinating as a team, and that's sort of the example of what Citadel gameplay feels like.
When designing the Citadel, we designed a lot of really cool bosses. And so one of the things that we did is we took that design and made like armor sets for each of the classes. That way you feel like you took their armor and you feel like you're wearing a little bit of them after your victory.
We also have a currency that's dedicated to Citadel, where as you play through, a vendor can be interacted with to buy custom cosmetics that are unique to the Citadel. You can play with 2 people, but the ideal experience is for 4. In order to facilitate that, we've built an all-new Party Finder feature. And the community has been pretty vocal about wanting this for a long time. It made a lot of sense to us.
Party Finder, so it's not like an auto queue though, right? It's not like queue up with random players. So you actually had to like make a group. Find a party, list a party. Okay. Do you know what? I'm far more okay with this than I am with like auto queue. I think auto queue is super dog shit, super antisocial. I feel like if it's just a party finder where you can like make like, look, I'm looking for a group for this thing, and then you can message the guy and be like, yo, want to do this? Like, what's your gear like? Whatever. You know, that seems better. Diablo 4 rated.io. No, this is better. This is better than the auto queue shit. And I think it's actually fine. There's a lot of contention where they're not like, well, what would you rather have? Would you rather have this or like people spamming in trade chat? Looking for 2M. Fucking Vessel of Hatred boss number 2. Like, I don't know, dude. This seems better. As long as it's not automated. The second you automate it, that's when it becomes bad. Because then you just... every single person you interact with becomes disposable. And they basically turn to NPCs. Whereas if you actually have to interact with someone, talk to them, invite them, go to a location.
He has been pretty vocal about wanting this for a long time. It made a lot of sense to us to pair it with this new Citadel mode.
It really is an activity that's geared towards people who love to play together with their friends.
Yo, it's like the opposite, bro. I'm like the opposite, bro, for real.
Or with strangers, and enjoy that cooperative gameplay. I cannot wait for players to get into the world. I'm really just excited for people to see all the little hidden storytelling elements that the team has fit in.
There's interesting things to find and see and discover around every corner, and it's just a really great experience getting to explore Nahantu.
People should now unlock the new Demon Wings cosmetic. What the fuck? Seasonal premium pass, 3,000 platinum, Warcat mount, armor bundle, 3 dogs, demon and angel, portal as well, 5 armor sets. Damn, bro. Why the fuck? What the fuck are they doing this on top of selling the fucking game, bro? Why are they doing this on top of the selling? It's not even DLC for free, bro. It's not even a free DLC. It's an expansion that you buy, and then they. What the fuck, man? Well, then again, because it's like for pre-purchasing, right? It's for pre-purchasing. So wait. Give horse a Warcat mount. How sick would that cat be? Dude, how sick would that mount be, though, if it was just dropped off a fucking hard boss and it had a low drop rate? How much sicker would that be? Like, think about it. Okay, what's cooler? Seeing someone on this cat, like seeing like 500 people running around on this cat, right? Because they bought the fucking expansion, or it's actually a super rare cat that drops from this one really hard boss, and it's a low drop rate. You know, what the fuck? And then it'd be way cooler if it was like, I mean, it's not even close, right? It like instantly becomes not cool. Maybe that's just me. Wait, is that just me? The second you get it from buying like a pack, right? It's from buying like a pre-purchase thing, it instantly becomes not cool to me. What is that? I don't know what that is. The second amount's super rare and hard to obtain, and I see someone on it, I'm like, damn. Maybe that is. I think that's what humans. I think humans are drawn to that, though. I think that's why we kind of like cool, unique things. You know, whereas just common things are like this less interesting. Oh shit, here we go.
Hello, Diablo community. Welcome to another campfire chat. This is the patch 2.0 campfire chat for PTR. As you guys can see, we're in a little bit of a new environment. We're all doing this from home. We had to do a quick last minute pivot about 24 hours ago. I was struck by some con flu after Gamescom, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our production teams behind the scenes. Lucas, Jade, and Rich, they made a quick pivot to allow us to do this and for us to be safe and to be able to still give you guys this exciting information for patch 2.0. But to lead us off, I do want us to do some quick intros for everyone here on the actual panel. So Colin, would you like to start off the intros?
Yeah, sure. I'm Colin on the design team.
Hello, I'm Aislinn Hall. I'm a systems designer with a focus on live balance.
Hey everyone, I'm Charles Dunn. I'm a class designer working on the live balance for Diablo 4.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeevan Sidhu, and I also work on the systems team.
Awesome. So we got a whole panel here, way more than what we normally have because we have so much to actually cover. We do want to jump into things pretty immediately, but I did want to recap really quickly. Obviously, last week we were at Gamescom. We made some really big announcements for Vessel of Hatred, where we announced, the mercenaries that will be coming to Vessel of Hatred, along with how that system works with like reinforcements. Okay. It's like a new take of how mercenaries play within Diablo, especially since mercenaries has such a storied history within the franchise itself. And of course, we also talked about the Cuirass Undercity and the Dark Citadel, along with the Party Finder feature that players will be able to actually partake in with Vessel of Hatred.
The second he looped and starts talking about something he's already talked about, or they just start talking about like questions like, what's your favorite class in this expansion? And they just start, it's like, when they do those kind of stupid ones, that's when we'll skip.
And use that for Dark Citadel and other features within the game. We do actually have a blog up on Diablo4.com that does do a good deep dive across all of those specific items, so you guys can actually check that out. But we have a packed agenda today. This will be a long one, so we hope that everyone will sit down and grab a snack and join us as we talk about some pretty large systemic changes that will be coming with Diablo 4, along with some new stuff that we'll be sharing as well that will also be coming with Diablo 4. So we're going to start off with some progression updates. We're going to move off into some class and balance changes, along with some quality of life updates, and then we'll kind of cap it off with a cool new announcement that will be coming with Vessel of Hatred. So Aislinn, Colin, I know you guys want to jump into some of these big progression changes that you guys were talking about last week, so take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. And I'm sure everyone has no idea what the big surprise is at the end.
None whatsoever.
So, yeah, right.
I know. They know that we know.
Let's jump into the progression. So when we launched the game, we had a sort of vision for the game that we felt like was really fun to play through once, where you'd sort of traverse through these world tiers and you'd be gaining new sacred items rarely, and then you'd be getting ancestral items when hopping into world tier 4. And as we played the game more and more, and as we've gotten feedback, that necessarily hasn't really been super fun. So we've sped up a lot of the progression to sort of get you into that space that where you feel powerful, where you have autonomy over your choice in terms of difficulty and challenge and reward. Diablo is all about that progression, right? And sort of blasting and feeling efficient. So we wanted to take a step back after looking at itemization. We've added a ton of itemization progression that we think is feeling pretty good. There's a lot of ways to customize your character. There's a lot of ways to progress your itemization. And we wanted to look at other aspects of the game. So that came in the form of like what hasn't aged super well. What are the things that we really enjoy and we see that you all enjoy? And doubling down on that. So two of those things are difficulty and overall just character progression from your paragon to your glyphs, etc. And we've sort of taken the approach of like really doubling down and embracing again what has been really fun, right? Blasting, being efficient, having control over your challenge and reward, right? Profane Mind Cages is awesome when you can stack it to 3 and you can hop into those Hell Tides and just start getting tons of experience and reward for pushing that challenge. Key dungeons like Nightmare Dungeons, Infernal Hordes, really pretty much every endgame in the system at this point has a tiering system associated with it, and we think that's like pretty indicative of like what has been fun, and we want to embrace that. And part of that is that idea of I can push really hard to get more efficiency. Part of that's conquering milestones, right? It's really good.
What system in the game is good right now, bro? Because I'm trying to think. Like Helltide's kind of like, all right, I guess. Like, I don't know. In stream? Okay. Bitches. Ban the guy saying in stream. Like, ban the guy saying in stream and shit. Okay. Alright, bug off. I don't know. I'm trying to think. What's my favorite system in D4? Dude, what the fuck? It's definitely not the PvP. It's definitely not the dungeons. So I don't know. I don't really have. Maybe the bosses. Maybe like. But even then, like, the Uber is bugged out. That's the one boss that was kind of at least fun. I enjoyed doing. I don't know, man. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really a good system in the game right now. Tomb Lord farming. I don't know. I didn't get to do the Greater Earth thing, but that's not in the game anymore, right? Or is the Greater Earth thing still in the game or not? The only boss that was interesting was Lilith, but then that was bugged. The pit. The pit is? Oh, okay, the pit. That's probably the best system then. Well, I definitely did. Wait, I did do some sort of pit thing, didn't I? No, I did. I did do Greater Rifts. So remember. Yeah, I remember. I was doing them. Yeah. No, I did. I did something. I was doing like a thing on my druid. No, I remember. I was there. I was there, bro. It was yeah. No. It wasn't the pit. It was some other thing though. No, I did, bro. You're thinking of D3 little guy. No.
It's a ton of fun to hop into World Tier 3 early. I think I hopped in at level 25 in the latest release just to see if I could do it, and it was a ton of fun. And it's sort of all about embracing that gaining power in multiple ways, feeling super powerful. And then another thing that we really wanted to look at in terms of making this better is alting. We made a change to make it so that the mythic uniques could be equipped at level 35, and if you've done that, it's a really badass experience where roll a barbarian, slap your grandfather on him, and you just blast through the leveling experience, and it's a ton of fun. That being said, we've added tons of sort of power to the equation, and we wanted to make sure that
one-shotting everything is fun. Hell yeah. To be honest, it is. Like the feeling of putting on heirloom gears in World of Warcraft back in the day. Whenever you had the heirloom gear on, and then you had like recruit a friend on, and you would just fucking leveling it. You could level a guy up in like 3 days. It was so cool.
We also gave you more autonomy to
cool.
sort of challenge
but then it was
yourself
kind of like short-lived. It's kind of that became the norm. Wasn't it? Yeah. But it's funny, like 3 days? What the fuck? 3 days?
New power, and we're adding a ton of new power in the expansion as well. So to cover it again, right, we want to look at expanding the progression in other areas of the game come patch 2.0. So with that, Aislinn actually has a bunch of exciting changes to talk about here.
I do. Thank you, Colin. Okay, everyone, I want you to put on your thinking caps because we have a lot of details to cover. So buckle up. We, in fact, have a topic screen here because there's so many things regarding progression that we're going to be talking about today. So the way that we're approaching this presentation is we're basically going to be bringing you through what a character's journey would actually look like. You know, starting by talking about the character journey and then talking about some difficulty tier changes that are coming, and then going deeper into, you know, how you're going to be gaining more rewards from those said difficulty tiers. So yeah, without further ado, let's simply jump in and get started with the character journey.
Okay.
Okay, so some changes coming to how you're going to be leveling up. There's going to be a level adjustment, first of all, coming to patch 2.0. Right now in the live game, you know, you go from character level 1 to 50. Those are your skill point levels. And then every level after 50 is a Paragon level where you're earning 4 Paragon points per Paragon level.
How's everyone getting banned?
We're going to be splitting those out in patch 2.0. And so you're going to earn Paragon points, which are going to be separate from your character level.
Okay, chat. All right, the person is trans. All right, calm down. Calm down. All right, calm down. It's like it's just random. Like, you know, that happens. Okay. All right. It's just random that she's on the talking show. Okay, it could have been anyone. All right. Don't get all crazy, bro. Don't get all crazy in chat. Don't go all schizo, boys. Don't go all schizo. All right. Okay. All right.
Levels 1 to 50 represent those character levels. And there's also going to be a new max character level, quote unquote, of level 60.
Oh,
and that means
shit,
that you
bro.
are going to be earning 10 more skill points from what you had been earning pre-patch 2.0. There's also going to be a reimagined pace to the leveling journey.
What?
So we have a lot of new difficulty tiers that are being added to the game. More on that soon. But effectively, lower difficulty tiers are going to be offering you a slower pace if you're a near player, you just want a very casual, chill experience. But you're going to be able to bump it up if you want to. Like if you're, you know, engaging with tempering, you're engaging with all these systems that are making your character stronger, and you want something to test that against, we're aiming to give that to you. And these difficulty tiers are going to be offering you improved efficiency, improved rewards, and the goal is to improve your pace if you can blast through these difficulties.
Yeah, this
now,
is a lot
there's
I love the word blasting. Hey, they love it. They seem to have adopted that word quite hard. Blasting, bro. That's like that. They've written that on the whiteboard. Blasting, good, because they're talking about how they want to just blast and blast and blast, dude. Let's fucking go, baby. Wouldn't just says a lot. I feel like I've heard Rax say it. Rax, I think it's a Rax phrase. Yeah. Because, you know, D3, I don't, you know, juicing. I mean, we said, you know, juicing. That was the word. That was the word. But it's been adopted. D4, for whatever reason, is they've adapted to blasting. Then again, juicing is still a thing. It's described as you got a juicy rift. You know, like that's a juicy rift. But you would kind of say, yo, I'm juicing super hard right now, which should be like blasting super hard. But yeah, okay, blasting. It's a new meta. Okay, so wait. Your new mag's level 60, but you get more Paragon points, so it's the same amount of power. It's not just way faster, is it? Like, because it's already fast as fuck to level up, isn't it? But it's a reimagined pace. Okay, the same reimagined pace. Let's hear the base.
The mine cages, right? Like we sort of heard, we heard you like mine cages, so we put it in the game systemically, like from whispers to Helltide to literally everything in the world. Like maybe you like doing dungeons.
Chat, I don't even know what a mine cage is. Can someone explain to me what a mine cage is? I'm a D4 vet. I don't even know what a mine cage is. Like, can someone? I mean, I don't know the names of things. What is a mine cage? What is a mine cage? Plus lower Helltide. Piece up. Okay, is it like the bar inside the Helltide that juices up? Or no? No. Okay, so it's an item that you can use. Okay, so it's an item that allows you to juice up the monster level in the zone. Plus 10 levels on demand. Ah, okay. Plus 10 monster level, stackable up to 3 times. That's kind of like a dynamic greater rift. You can boost up, so you're able to, except you can just do it anywhere. Interesting. Okay. Okay.
And really, it's sort of like giving players that choice to do what they want, and it's not just Helltide now that can push that difficulty.
It's like a basic
Yeah,
map mod,
totally.
isn't it?
Like we were just playing on the development team, and we were playing in Helltides and playing with Mind Cages, and we were like, this is great. Like I want to just be able to do this or like have this option available to me, like basically whenever I'm playing. So that's a big part of these changes. Moving on here to the number adjustments. So as a lot of you guys found in footage, yes, there is a pretty substantial number adjustment. So a big part of this is we want to make sure that there's room for growth. And we're adding a lot of player power in patch 2.0 and Vessel of Hatred. And we want to make sure that numbers don't get so crazy that we cannot even fathom them, right?
Quintillions. We're doing quintillions, bro. That was the meta in D4, D3. Actually, it's not even. It's quadrillions now, right? But I remember, like back in the day, it was like quintillions, bro, straight up.
And so a big part of this is giving us a good starting point in patch 2.0 where we can afford to grow numbers. So yeah.
Yo, anything over a mil DPS is too much. Anything over 1 million DPS is stupid. I think the best DPS numbers are like 10k is high, right? 10k high, 10k DPS is high. That's a good number. That's a good high DPS number. Like, dude, it's just stupid. Do we really want to have to pause multiple zeros for no reason? Like, it's even think about Baldur's Gate, bro. Like a big crit, like can be double digits and shit, right? Like you don't. And it still feels good. You don't need like 5 zeros in the end. You just don't, bro.
I think it's really important, to have numbers that are like, when you're like doing damage numbers, to see ones that are meaningful to you, right? If you're increasing your damage like even 10x, but it's taking it from like an 8 or 9 digit number to a 10-digit number, it's almost impossible to see that kind of growth in player power. So with numbers that are more readable on screen, that A, makes it much more obvious when you're getting more powerful, and just makes the game as a whole easier to kind of comprehend.
Totally.
Dude, change my mind. The best games, bro, even like RuneScape, they stay single digits and double digits. Or maybe you can do triple digits in RuneScape now, I don't know. But like, bro, that shit's good. I like that. Darkest Dungeon, Baldur's Gate. I mean, the thing is, they don't really have crazy power creep in those games. Just double digits, bro. I mean, shit. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, it's hard because of the way these games work, and they want you to constantly improve. So then they need to constantly improve the monsters. It's like, I feel like you could just get that graph instead of it being like this, bro. Just make it like this. Is that not? Am I crazy? The thing is, PoE is like that, by the way. The way PoE gets around this, just hide it, bro. You just hide it. You can't just don't even show it to anyone. GG noobs. Hey. You can be doing like, whatever, 20 million DPS, but you don't see it.
Yeah, and it's important to note that like this is relative, in that we're not slowing you down in any way. This is purely sort of one of those adjustments that we're making to ensure that you can have more growth in the end game. We're not at the top end nerfing things like crit chance or CDR. Really, this is all about having actually, like, sort of what we set out to do when we launched the game is have more grounded numbers for longer. That's not to say that you aren't going to get insane in the deep end game, right?
Yeah, you're still going to have a lot of power to game. And yeah, finally, just going back to this first bullet here on this slide, we're going to talk more about Paragon later, but for now we're going to focus on some other things. So sit tight.
All right. Sitting tight.
Okay, let's talk about how monsters are changing. So we've streamlined monster health and damage in a pretty big way. We took a look at how monsters gain health and how they gain damage over different difficulty tiers. And we've really like honed in and kind of universalized our approach to how they're gaining power throughout your character experience. And this is going to be applying to all monster types, normal monsters, minions, which are elites, little buddies, elites themselves, and of course bosses. And all of these monsters now have health that's relative to their normal monster counterpart on any given difficulty tier. And what this does is it really helps smooth difficulty progression and the difficulty of any experience that you're currently in. Secondly, we have some changes to monster scaling. So monsters are going to scale to a pit tier, and we're going to talk more about that as well pretty soon too. So sit tight. And the big thing here is that monsters are always going to match the player level now. So on live, we have a world where monsters can be, 100 levels offset of you.
It's so dog shit, bro. It's the way they calculate it all. It's like the higher they are, the less damage you do, and the more damage they do to you. It's like it doesn't. Yeah, it's fucking trash. Some here is also trash though. Don't get it twisted. I feel like this is also a shit system. I feel like don't get me wrong. This just means it's like that. I think what they mean by that, right, is they're not going to get that weird scaling where you just arbitrarily do less damage to them, and they just do arbitrarily more damage to you. So I think they're still going to get more difficult per tier, but they're just going to always be your level. But it's like, why not just have static monsters that have static? Like, why have any of that scaling shit? Why not just be like, all right, these are level these monsters here are like they're level 80 monsters, and this is how potent they are. More, I feel like it's less work. I feel like it's less work though, bro. Am I crazy? Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things where, if you're aiming at the most casual audience possible, and you're not aiming at really fucking blasters, right? It kind of makes sense to just go to the scaling route anyway, because that means you get all the cross play, and anyone can be any level, and you can group with anyone. Fuck. It's just, yeah, it's just dog shit, right? It's just a dog shit, unrewarding feeling system. Although I think what she's about to say is, it just gets rid of all that dog shit scaling, but they will still get harder with the pit tiers, obviously.
And anywhere in between. And that can be fairly hard to understand. And so a big part of this pass is kind of removing that element of the game so that we can focus on what difficulty we're currently in and using that as the judge of how hard or how easy or wherever in between the content you're currently in is. And finally, we have some pretty cool combat tuning changes. So we've taken a lot of looks at, the moment-to-moment combat pacing in the game. And monster mechanics across the board have been adjusted to really hone in on player momentum. You're here to slaughter demons. We want you to move quickly through the game. And we don't necessarily want monsters to be slowing you down, especially normal monsters.
Combat. No. All right. Combat, no, bro. All right, we just want you to be just one-shotting everything, all right, boys? Goddamn, log in. That's what players think they want, bro, straight up. And it's because that is what they want to a certain extent. But, dude, you guys are fucking wrong in the head.
And to achieve this, we've reduced instance...
Like PoE, yeah, okay, PoE is like that if you're playing OP meta builds constantly, all right? Yeah. All right, dude, for real.
Of getting one shot, out of nowhere. And we've also adjusted boss HP so that they're not quite as grindy after you're moving in from, after blasting down AoE packs in the pit, for example.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a pain point. Oh, great call.
Go ahead, Charles.
Just saying, right, that's always been the pain point in the pit so far is hey, you're really strong, you blast through most of the dungeon, and then you get up to the boss, and the boss takes, 5 minutes or more. That's just such a slog. So we're definitely making sure it's a more consistent experience. In a given difficulty tier, you're going to have a more consistent experience.
Bro, they're going to add in Bane of the Stricken. They couldn't fix this problem in Greaterus because of the infinite scaling and the nature of how bosses HP scaled. So they just said, do you know what, bro? Let's just give the players infinite scaling. And they added in Bane of the Stricken. Which was a way of just letting players ramp up damage. So it didn't matter how much HP the boss had. Eventually, players would kill it. Yeah, and it was such a dog shit band-aid solution to the fixing the problem. But hey, it is what it is.
It's across boss and
that's the nature of infinite scaling.
Of the game.
Yeah, and we've already taken a lot of steps towards this. In one of the previous seasons, we set it so that you wouldn't get armor cap penalties as the monster is leveled higher than you, right? So this is really just sort of consolidating a lot of the, I'm going to get shit for the Blizzard math, on the back end to make sure that like a lot of the things are really being reworked on the back end to address the problems we see on live with the crazy exponential scaling of boss health from like 4 different multipliers and the crazy exponential damage that some of the monsters are getting. It's like the corpse bow, of course, dying in one shot from off screen. A lot of those things should be much more consistent as you're climbing through those difficulty tiers, which we're going to.
What I don't get is why do they always use multipliers? Blizzard's got an obsession with multipliers always. They're obsessed, bro. Obsessed. Just remove the reason why you're having these number issues with the player's damage and then also the boss's HP. It's all because multipliers. It's like if you didn't just give everything multipliers, then players wouldn't get to like quintillions of damage. Bosses wouldn't get to the point where they have. I mean, yeah, just like go with far more static additive numbers. And it's the reason why I know why. It's that they're gonna say, well, if we don't, then it doesn't feel like you do triple damage when you put the fucking item on, and then that item doesn't feel impactful. Well, maybe the item shouldn't be giving you triple damage. Huh? You consider that the item shouldn't give you triple damage? Is that consideration? Perhaps.
Talk more about in the future or in this presentation.
Very soon, in fact.
How about you make an item that, gives you a utility or has an effect that augments the ability you're playing, Like, I mean, fuck, bro. Just don't do just pointless items that are just straight up damage multipliers. I don't think an item items that just say, there's no gameplay change. There's no itemization change. You just do more damage with X. I don't think that should exist on an item. I think it's just straight up bad.
Like right now. Difficulty tiers.
Right now.
Let's talk about
Face breakers, bitch. What do you mean that completely changes the way you itemize your character? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. What are you talking about? Frost breath? What do you mean? That you have to, like, chill things? I mean, no. If it changes the way you build your character, bro, you've got it. No, then that's fine. But if it just says you do more damage with X, that's dog shit, bro. Oh, shit. What is this? Okay, what am I looking at? World bosses Helltide. Level 1 to 100. Okay, what the fuck is that?
So, this is our beautiful Blizzard illustration, if you will, of current day difficulty. Art by Colin. Thank you very much.
Got to call out Colin. Yeah.
Oh, no.
We've got
We're going to get art for this.
This is art. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is beautiful. Modern art. You can
I think DS Lily would have made a better one than this, just being honest.
See, we have the big bone boss, very, very sad at the current state of things up there. So what this is basically illustrating is that there are basically brackets right now on live
way more errors
where various content is relevant. You have world bosses that stay relevant for a certain amount of time. You have Helltide that stays relevant, maybe a little bit longer than world bosses do. And then you have world tiers 1 and 2. Then you have world tier 3, which is, very sad. Sorry, world tier 3.
Yeah.
And then world tier 4.
Magnifying glass, you can see it.
Yeah. Maybe if you look really closely, you can see how long it takes to go through world tier 3. And then world tier 4, which has like a bit of a tail, but still pretty short. And then we compare it to like where our character's power currently exists, which is, you've got level 1 to 100. And then, of course, your journey throughout all of the pit tiers. And basically what this is illustrating is a lot of these content types fall off. World bosses don't stay relevant forever. Helltide doesn't stay relevant forever. The world tiers you're living on in the open world don't stay relevant. And eventually it simply becomes about running the pit. And that's the place where you can judge your character's strength.
Is the nature of infinite scaling. I mean, do you know what? It's funny because PoE would have the same graph, except it would just be with Delve. Like, technically speaking. Like, it's where all the highest for HP monsters are. That's where all there's bosses there that do like tons of ridiculous damage and have stupid amounts of HP.
We don't necessarily want.
That's why it's like it's kind of dog shit game design, right? Because it needs to be like not the end game. It needs to be a side thing, right? It needs to be a side thing. Because imagine if that was the end game, bro. Imagine if the end game of PoE was just Delve, bro. I mean, bro, you just be like, you get the gun out, bro, and you just fucking...
The game to work that way. We want a lot of activity.
Now, as a side thing that you can do, and you can do for fun, I think it's for sure. I think it'll be a banger league. I think it'll be a banger league. I think that'll be a fucking awesome... If they give you, if they did a greater league in PoE, for example, and it was not the end game at all, and it was like, there was just a few items that you could get from there that were good, and you could go really high and super far if you wanted to, but it was just more like an EP thing. I think that'd be a banger league, bro, straight up.
Activities to stay fun and interesting and engaging for as long as possible. And so to accomplish that, we've got some pretty big changes coming to difficulty tiers. So let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this, talking about pit arbitration. And that's just a fancy way of basically saying that the pit is going to be something behind the scenes that's setting the pace of all difficulty in the game across all content types.
The pit.
So pit tiers are going to match difficulty tiers. There's going to be 5 pit tiers per standard difficulty, which is just encapsulating 4 new world tiers pre-level 60, which are normal, hard, expert, and penitent. And then there will be 15 pit tiers per torment difficulty. And there are going to be 4 torment difficulty tiers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So difficulty tiers are going to derive monster health, damage, and intensity from the pit tier that is associated with that difficulty tier. And I know that's a little complicated, but we're going to have some supporting stuff to show what this means a little better pretty soon. And I do want to call out intensity here. Colin, do you want to talk about monster intensity raising between?
Well, the whole game is now the pit, dude. The whole game is now the pit. They've just integrated. They've combined the pit and the base game, bro, into one game.
Difficulty tiers.
Yeah, so intensity is something we played around with in the base game, and it's sprinkled out throughout the game. But what intensity is it's a back-end system that controls monster aggressiveness as well as monster intelligence. So by aggressiveness, it's things like they attack faster, they have lower cooldowns, they move faster. And then intelligence is they predict your movement more, they'll face you more. So if it has a big swing, it's actually going to try and track you a little bit more accurately. So it's not just the health and damage that's going up through these difficulty tiers. The monsters are actually becoming a little bit more dynamic and fast-paced. And we think that feels pretty good, especially when it's sort of scaling through the new difficulty tier system that we have.
I love that idea, bro. I love that idea of intelligent monsters. So like you can increase the difficulty of something by making it more intelligent. And I do wonder what that would look like. They make some boss and it doesn't even every time you fight it, like it's like retarded at first, bro. It's like defective. It's got some fucking brain defect. And then the hard version of the boss is exactly the same, except it gets to the point where you're fighting like this insane expert fucking giga version where you try shoot it and it just like backflips over your shit, it just predicts every shot, dodges everything, it like max ranges you, dead zones you, fucking line of sights all your attacks, it'd be a complete cancer, but it just sounds like a fun little side boss. Obviously you wouldn't want that to be the whole game by any means, but you can imagine some sort of crazy exile encounter. I think it's a cool idea from the D4 devs.
Yeah, this is something we do have on the live game, but in the new patch 2.0, you're really going to feel that difference. Currently, you feel a little bit of difference in between the different world tiers, and that's just going to be magnified. And your moment-to-moment combat it's not just going to be higher numbers. The moment-to-moment will feel different and harder at these higher torment difficulties.
Yep, they're going to become bigger jerks as you ascend difficulties.
Hell yeah.
All right, so let's talk about difficulty gating. So this is basically how people are going to be moving through these different difficulty tiers. So the pit is going to unlock once you hit character level 60, which is the new maximum character level in patch 2.0. So
Jesus
pit
Christ.
tiers associated with standard difficulties are going to unlock immediately, which is pit tiers 1 through 20. You're going to be able to challenge all of those immediately once you're max level. And you're going to need to beat pit tier 20 to unlock the first torment tier. Once you beat pit tier 20, you're allowed to go into the overworld on torment 1. And then, as we see here, there are 15 pit tiers per torment difficulties. So to unlock torment 2, you would then need to progress.
Yo, and this is what they did in D3, like exactly, bro? Isn't this like verbatim what they did in D3? Wait, I feel like this is exactly how you would unlock it in D3. Like there was, yeah. Oh shit! So they're just patching the game to be like more like D3, bro. Come on, patches, and we're back to actually D3, bro. Let's go. Hey, I'm not even kidding though. D3 is a better game than D4, so hey, it's technically making the game better. Although it's one of those things where I don't want a HD version of D3. I want a new game that's way better than D3. So it's like it's kind of positive that they're going towards D3 because D3 is better than D4, but at the same time, it's kind of a little bit depressing because you think they'd have a way better version of the game that they could learn from D3 and completely reinvent and innovate. Where are we? TS Elite. D4 on launch. D4 last couple season D3.5. D4 next season D3 Reborn. Hell yeah, bro. Now that's maybe they'll actually do it, bro. Do you think they'll call it? I mean, they called their other season Loot Reborn. Who knows? They might even just go with that.
Through the pit and beat pit tier 35, at which point you can now go into Torment 2 in all other activities, so on and so forth. So this is basically creating a... Sorry, go ahead, Colin.
Oh, I was going to jump in and say, like, what's kind of interesting is, like, Torment 1 you can think about as World Tier 3 today. And what we're sort of doing is essentially saying, now that level cap is 60, you actually can find some of the best items in the game very early, right? Imagine if you were able to just start finding the best items in the game in World Tier 3. That's really sort of what we're talking about here. We're really speeding up when you can actually get to the end game where we've added things like the pit, we've added things like nightmare dungeons and more end game activities for you to engage with and item modification systems. So it really is sort of getting you into the fun faster, which also makes alting a lot more cool, right? It's way easier to sort of get to that point where, all right, I'm in the end game. I'm going to start looking for awesome items. I'm going to start modifying my items. So we think that like sort of represents a pretty substantial change to how you play the game.
Faster equals better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you not think it's just like more content equals better, more stuff to do, more engagement? Because they had the same logic with D3. They had the same logic with D3, bro. And they were like, they literally, every patch, they made it more and more trivial to get to your gear sooner, to level up faster, to the point where they literally made you level up like this instantly, and then they would just hand you a full set of gear, and then they reduced the D3 playability from like 2 weeks of gameplay or something to 1 week of gameplay, to the point where the final seasons of D3 were so consolidated, so fast, because every time they just made it faster and faster and faster, where it was like you get basically 24 hours to 48 hours of gameplay out of D3. Legitimately. And that sounds like this is what they're doing for D4 now. It's like that we're just seeing that they're just condensing it. And why is that? Because there's fucking hardly any content in the game. Right? Why, instead of just condensing, how about just instead add more shit in between there that keeps players engaged so they don't get bored? The reason why you get bored, right, going from here to here, is because, like, what are you doing? You're just doing, like, the fucking same few dungeon things and, like, hell tides. It's just boring. Right? If there was tons of shit to do, you wouldn't be bored.
Why we kind of built it around the pit, and why we associated difficulty with the pit. How do y'all think about that?
They did it in D3.
Yeah, so right now the pit is a fantastic razor to judge your character against. And I think that this overhaul is effectively turning the pit into the game's backbone, to use kind of a gruesome term, but we're Diablo, so whatever. It's basically turning the pit into the game's backbone of like difficulty, and all other difficulties is kind of derived from that. And it gives us a very predictable and understandable pace for you to experience all other activities in the game.
We're turning the pit into the fucking game's uncut cock! Potion come! Okay, it's Diablo 4. All right, we say weird shit like that, okay? It's D4. Okay, she's... Okay.
Based on the pit's difficulty.
Yeah, that razor is great for pushing difficulty, right? You think about how part of what's really fun, again, about Diablo is that feeling of progression and that feeling of becoming powerful, then taking on a big-ass demon, killing it, getting awesome loot. And what the pit is going to do is you're going to push that difficulty, then unlock new torment tiers, which is going to unlock more efficiency for you. And you can sort of think about it as like we've added not just a world tier 5, but a world tier 5 and 6 as part of this torment system. And it's something we can continue to sort of...
We just got to get torment 10, bro. Wait, what did we end up with? What was Diablo 3 at the end? Was that torment 15 or something? What did we end up with? It was like... I remember people were like, holy shit, bro. Bro, holy shit. Did you see, bro? Oh my god, they're adding so much to Diablo 3. They added torment 6, torment 7, torment 8, torment 9, and torment 10, bro. What the fuck? This is crazy, bro. Are you coming back to D3? They fixed it. It's been look at all that content. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? It's just arbitrarily. It's the same exact game, except the monsters get a little bit more damage and HP. Okay, what are you...
Evaluate and build on as characters become more powerful and we add new ways to sort of play through the system.
Yeah, and I think it's also a lot about consistency across content, right? Currently, in the live game, we've got a lot of different... levels of different types of things, right? You've got Nightmare Dungeon keys, you've got pit levels, you've got Infernal Horde tiers. And we just kind of realized that, hey, the pit is something that we have, really good delineation between the different levels. So you've got a wide spread of different tiers for that. And that's something we can kind of peg difficulty against across the whole game to make a more consistent experience when you're in a certain difficulty.
Do you know, I feel like this is kind of shit, though. It's like some pussy-ass cop-out shit, bro. For real. Okay, do you know why they do it? It's, you get like raid finder versions of bosses. Unless they're gonna say you can only fight like the top bosses, so like Duriel and Lilith and all them, and you can only fight it in the highest torment, and they're not accessible in the lower torments, which they may do, which would be good because that means at least the bosses will be static, right? They may do that, which would be cool. But I feel like they're just not doing that, and you're gonna have like lower torment versions of the same bosses, which is just like the raid finder versions of the game. So people can just go through and do like the bosses on the easier difficulty. Obviously, I'm guessing there will be bonuses and loot bonuses. There are bonuses, right, for going the high torment. So like, good players are gonna still do that anyway. But it kind of like diminishes the value of killing a boss. It's like, hey, if Lakari says he kills Shaper on HCSSF, I know what that means. Okay, if someone kills, like, oh, you killed Lilith, but, like, what torment? Torment 3? Torment 4? Torment 5? Like, what torment? What did you kill? I don't know. I don't know.
Multi-tier,
versus, like,
you're just going to get a more consistent
easy mode
experience
version,
across
hard mode
all
version, etc.
Right.
Has he quit yet? Does Lakari quit?
Yeah. So, like, when you're on Torment 2, you're going to know that all the content you're facing is on the level of Torment 2. But right now, on the live game, you go into a pit tier 50, and you're like, okay, it's pit tier 50 difficulty. And then you go into a Nightmare Dungeon tier 50, and it's a totally different difficulty. And then you go into an Infernal Hordes tier 8, and you're like, wait a minute, this is extremely hard compared to these other ones. They're just not similar, right? And so we want to create a more level playing field so that difficulty is easier to understand.
It's also
so the pit's like a kind of
leveling.
common language and shared experience for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a benefit, and it's also, in some sense, leveling up all the activities. Like, I know that there's some people who really enjoy Whispers, for example, and Whispers just falls off. Like, if you're doing the pit and you're level 100, you're level 90 in the pit, like, Whispers are terrible, right? Like, you're not actually going to run Whispers when you're pushing that deep into the game. But now when sort of things are leveling up with Torment tiers, you have a place to go and sort of juice the efficiency from those different activities, if you like that activity.
Yeah, and this kind of carries over to other activities, not just Whispers. It's like, your Hell Tides.
Yeah, the whole world is leveling, right?
Yeah, and like which is another thing. Like Infernal Hordes is something that obviously was introduced in Season 5, is coming back, and is a permanent feature within the game, and is also going up with the rest of the content.
Like, you see what they do. You see what they're saying there, right? The pit existing makes all content redundant. But then it's like, okay, the pit clit's a problem. Turn the entire game into the pit, which basically just means make like 50 different difficulty tiers for everyone to play through on. I just like, why even do that? It's almost like that the pit shouldn't even exist, or it should be like a optional side thing. I don't know, like the entire game. I'm not hate watching it. It's interesting to see the logic. I don't really care. We just made the whole game to the pit, bro.
All right. So let's
go.
talk a little more about the details of difficulty tiers. So on the right-hand side here, you can see this table. It's basically showing off the associated pit tier with any given difficulty tier. So normal simply starts on 1, and then like we saw before, it goes up by 5 each time until you get to torment tiers, at which point it goes up by 15 each time. So torment 4 lands on 65, torment 1 starts on 20. And in light of this, we have changed the highest pit tier to be 100, down from 200. And this doesn't mean that the pit tier 100 is going to be the same difficulty as it is on live. It's going to be harder. So each pit tier you're going up is going to be harder than it was before, effectively. And we also have this pretty neat new system where we have smart keys. And what that means is your things like Infernal Hordes or Nightmare Dungeons, the keys to enter those activities are now going to follow the current difficulty tier that you're on. So if I have an Infernal Horde key and I'm on Torment 3 and I use it, I'm going to go into a Torment 3 difficulty Infernal Horde. And the same is true for Nightmare Dungeons. So we're pretty excited about that change because, again, coming back to all these things we've talked about where it just kind of makes things easier, just makes life easier.
Yeah, it's a big quality of life change because on live right now you get a bunch of sacred, Nightmare Dungeon keys, and I'm sure everyone runs a ton of World Tier 3 Nightmare Dungeons, right? You definitely don't just pop in to get a sacred weapon, but what I'm getting at is a lot of those keys just end up getting salvaged. And now when all keys can sort of carry weight through various torment tiers, getting a nightmare key is this interesting choice of like, well, do I keep it or do I run it now? Because if I keep it, I can just use it at a later time. And it's really about giving the players that choice.
So they dynamically scale even.
Content.
They even dynamically scale
that key and say, in Torment 2.
That's like if you drop white maps, bro. You can hold onto your white maps and then they scale up to red maps. So then the logical thing is to not use them. GG actually hates this problem, which is why they try and avoid it at all times possible. They want players to like use resources and use things early, so that's why they try and like lock in. And that's why the changes behind like, for example, the new quality changes. They want you to use the quality items and not save them while leveling. So now they're falling into a bit of a trap here, but ultimately it sounds like a still slightly better system than they previously had, so positive. Divines and Exalts, they want players to use them. They're still struggling, though. You
need to find a new key to do this thing. So I think it's definitely making key management a lot easier and more fluid as well. One thing on the pit
is there a key tab now?
I think is really interesting is we definitely have rescaled the pit. Tier 100 is sort of like our 200 on live. But I think that's something that we definitely want to keep an eye on PTR. We don't have any problems with increasing the amount of pit tiers. Like this is something we can definitely revisit if we see in PTR that you all are insane, which is probably going to happen, and you beat tier 100. We really like that it's a razor and measuring stick, and we don't want to take that away from players. So that's something that we want to get PTR feedback.
But I think that's dumb. I feel like that's dumb because all you do is expose problems. If like this is a difficulty and it doesn't get any harder than this, bro, right? Like it just there, then all you have to do, right? Then what happens is this becomes a bar, right? And it means every build, right? Every build, so you got like a build, as long as it can get over this bar, so it doesn't matter. Say this guy's doing like 100 million DPS, and this guy's doing like 5 million DPS, whatever. As long as you get over that bar, you're viable. And this, I feel like this is the problem with T17s, is the T17s in PoE, for example, are too high. And which makes like so many builds fall off, and then it makes you like you don't even want to play it. Like, why would I play that? It's gonna be shit in T17. I don't want to play that character. And I feel like by creating a bar which just constantly goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up, right? And he's saying it just goes infinite. Well, all that happens is, unless you're playing the strongest build, you're retarded basically. Unless you're playing the strongest build, you're a fucking idiot. And that's the problem. Whereas if it's like a static cap, if there's a limit, right? If there's a limit, it doesn't matter if you're necessarily playing a build that does 3 million DPS but can still get through all content, do everything, or a build that's doing 100 million DPS. They're still clearing similar. They're still able to do all content. They're still able to play the whole game. But the second you create like an infinite scaling system that goes forever, it exposes how unbalanced the game actually is. Because I guarantee PoE does have that, right? PoE has Delve. Guess what? There's like 3 builds that do Delve. And they all do like 1 billion DPS and have way more. It's like completely imbalanced. And everyone will be playing builds like that. Like if the end game of PoE, for example, was Delve, there'd be like 2 builds that people play. And I feel like that's, that just shows you why infinite scaling systems kind of suck as a pure end game. It's not even aspirational content though. The thing is, the Fiat is static. Uber Boss is static. Like all the shit there, it's static. Okay, it doesn't go infinite. The Pit, he's saying it can go infinite. We want it to be like maybe you don't even hit 100. That's a good thing. He's saying it's a good thing. I'm saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying nah. This should just be like a bar. Once you're over that bar, you're good. Because otherwise, it just exposes how imbalanced the game is, and it means viable builds, instead of having 4 viable builds, or like, in this example, there'd be like many, there'd be many more builds, right? Instead of having like, however many viable builds, you just get 1 viable build, and then that's just bad for the game. The sphere is static in the respect that there's a range. The Fiat is this, dude. The Fiat is literally just this. The Fiat is, like, it's here, and then you can make it, there's like a bar that goes up and a bar that goes down, and this is the range it can have. It can never go, it can't just go infinite. It's, you could roll the worst Fiat possible, right? You can roll the worst Fiat possible, and it's still going to be limited at this point. What he's saying is, they want it to be infinite difficulty, and they can add more pit tiers. He's saying if everyone's reaching 100, that's bad, and we're going to add more tiers in. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's actively a bad thing. I think that's currently the problem with T17s is it makes it feel like most builds aren't even viable, and if you're not playing with a really, really strong build, you're kind of retarded, which I think is shit for the game. I think it's bad.
And we could really use your help in breaking that system and seeing how far you can push it.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. And like we've said on this stream, there are going to be a lot of new player power opportunities coming, and so yeah, please show us what you got, as they say. Shit. Okay, so let's talk about, let's just dive a little more into the details. I think we went over a lot of this stuff already, but we can kind of go through this slide here. So
who's they? It's a Rick and Morty. If you don't know, it's a Rick and Morty reference she's making. Okay.
Yeah, all content in the game exists within an expanded difficulty tier selection, like we were talking about. I think an important thing to call out here is that, for example, Penitent is, if you're comparing it just to like kind of understand what it's going to look like relative to live right now, Penitent's kind of going to end up being like World Tier 2 if you added 45 monster levels on top of it. And that's intended to kind of be the upper echelon of like pre-max level character leveling. So if you really want to amp up the difficulty to as hard as you can make it, like going on to Penitent is where you want to be. And this is just a lovely little visual aid. We've got some cool new icons for these difficulty tiers. Normal, hard, expert, and penitent. It gets harder as you keep going.
Yo, it's straight up SG3, bro.
Okay, so
Logan.
Yeah, and we really want this to be like opt-in, not progression locked. And so the vanilla Diablo.
Yeah, they go like 10 years or whatever and end up making the same game again, bro. What the hell is going on?
4 difficulty tiers kind of operated as progression tiers, right? And what I mean by progression tiers is the moment you get to World Tier 3, as Colin was saying, like you unlock sacred items, maybe you go into a dungeon so you can find a sacred weapon. And these things unlock so quickly and they drop so frequently that you kind of just got this huge burst of power and you never really got to feel that power. And we want to make sure that you are like feeling each upgrade you get in the game and it feels really, really punchy. And we really want these new difficulty tiers to be player guided. Like we want you to be able to make your own decisions on when you're moving on to the next one and what's the right pace for you. And of course, these new difficulty tiers are going to give you improving rewards. You're going to find more gold, more experience, and you're going to have more loot efficiency per difficulty tier. So the higher difficulty tier you can fight the game on, the more efficient your experience is going to be effectively.
Yeah, and I think that's really...
Go ahead, Charles.
Go. Yeah, I was just saying that's really like what I view as the differentiating factor between what current V4 is and in the new patch 2.0 is if you enter Torment 1, you can find the best item in Torment 1. You could complete your character and get full best in slot and everything. It's just going to take a while, right? It's going to be less efficient. You're going to be getting less loot. And whereas in the live game right now, right, you just can't find the best things in World Tier 3. You are kind of obligated to go to that World Tier 4. And now, if you're able to clear higher torments with efficiency, that's just going to be the best option for you to find the gear more efficiently, but you aren't forced into Torment 4 to find the best items in the game.
Yeah.
He's like, what he's saying is, bro, they made it so you can just get, like, gear. Basically, you say you can do white maps, bro. You can do white maps. Well, not white maps. You can do yellow maps and get full best gear. You get full best gear on yellow maps. Right, but you just get less quant in the yellow maps.
That's something I've really liked about it is that
86 out of them.
We get to start the end game a lot earlier with Torment, right? Because there's nothing that you're excluded from. There's no awesome piece of loot that you can't find by Torment 1, and so you get to really start to test your build after it's kind of gotten some real optimization. I think much earlier into the journey than before.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jeevan. And like a great example of that is what we're doing with the ladder bosses or the lair bosses. All of those unlock in Torment 1. The cost to summon them is static. It remains the same throughout all the Torment tiers. And what that means is if you can beat it on a higher Torment tier, you're going to get way more uniques. So you get a handful of uniques starting in Torment 1, way more uniques in obviously Torment 4, but the cost, because it remains static, we're not going to ask.
They're going to run into the same problem that PoE ran into with Uber bosses whenever they had the same fragment tiers, and basically people it's a waste to not use them on the hardest version of the boss, so then you have to use it on the hardest version of the boss, so then you end up not using it on the boss at all. So it's gonna have the same problem. But I mean, maybe I think Torment 4 is gonna be quite trivial, so it's probably not gonna be an issue. But you are gonna you're basically retarded if you just use it early.
You to get anything extra like a Stygian stone. That just means as long as you can kill that Torment 4 boss, you're getting way more efficiency out of that boss. I mean, it really is like this. It feels amazing to sort of progress through those Torment tiers and just unlock way more power opportunity.
Yeah, we don't really have this differentiation of like a regular version of the late game boss, like a regular version of Duriel, and then the tormented echo of Duriel. That's not really a distinction that we have anymore. Whereas like previously it would cost.
Bro, they could put Wraithbinder in the game straight up. That's what they've done, bro, with this change.
More materials to summon the tormented version, but it would give more rewards. Now it's the same cost across the different Torment tiers. It's just if you're able to conquer him on Torment 4, that's where you're going to get the absolute most bang for your buck in terms of resources in to loot out.
I think it's objectively a bad change they've made here. I feel like they should have separate materials for the hardest version. Change my mind, bro. Change my mind. And it should have a different name, and the zone should look different. Okay, so it's clearly differentiated from the easier versions. Okay, and there should be specific loot that drops from the harder version that doesn't drop from the easier versions. Hey, there it is, bro. I'll say it, bro. Hey.
Yeah. And I want to just double down on, like, Torment 1 is where the end game starts now, and just each Torment tier that you're ascending is making your end game, more fun, basically, because you're going to be getting cooler stuff, or more frequently.
Shit, dude.
Okay, so enough about difficulty tiers. Let's move on to some itemization changes.
Okay.
So, item strength. We have what I like to call the item power shuffle happening in patch 2.0. Items with item power above 540 are going to be adjusted to 540. And affix bands in lieu of this, or in addition to this, rather, are going to be adjusted as well. So yeah, items at the new character level max they're gonna max out at 750. And that's not actually the highest item power that's going to be in the game, and we'll talk about that more in just a second. But most items you're going to be finding once you hit max character level will be item power 750. And you're going to be finding much better item power items from levels 51 to 59. There's going to be big item power jumps. So once you start leveling your character past those original 50 character levels, you're going to start finding a lot better gear. Okay, so let's take a look at what an ancestral item looks like in patch 2.0. Could we? Yeah, let's take a look here real quick. So you'll notice here that this item has 800 item power, which is 50 higher than the max 750 that I was talking about before. You'll also notice on the right-hand side that is the Torment icon. So ancestral items can be found starting on Torment 1. They're going to become more frequent as you ascend Torment difficulties, but they're still going to stay pretty rare throughout all Torment levels. You'll also notice that the greater affix on this item is highlighted. That is because now whenever you find an ancestral item, they're always going to have one greater affix. They can roll with more, but they will be guaranteed a single one every single time.
Jesus.
So let's dive in more.
Is that even good? I don't know if that should just be rare and static. I don't know. I mean, that's it. I don't even know how I feel about the item power system. It's just like it's like a retard-proof system, right? Like big number better, basically. That's. I mean, what do you guys? How do you guys feel about it? Maybe it's good for like people who are retarded. Bro, look at, oh my god, bro, it's fucking 800 item power, babe. Holy shit. What the fuck this? But then again, it's gonna everything you're gonna loot is gonna be max item power, right? Once you get the high torment level, so then it's gonna be that whole like higher item power equals better fucking mentality is gonna break down. I mean,
to the details.
That, right, Hazelin, is part of finding a greater affix on live right now. Is sometimes it's on life per second. It's like, oh, okay, got a greater affix on life per second. But now when you see an ancestral item, it's always going to have a greater affix, and that ancestral eye power bump, the affix bump, is going to feel really good. Even if you miss that affix, it's still a huge upgrade to your character if you haven't found one of these before.
Yeah,
Totally.
and sometimes, right, you get an item that has multiple greater affixes on live, and it's not at 925, it's not at the highest item power, and that's kind of a mixed bag, right? Like, well, it's kind of good, but it's a lower item power, and now things with greater affixes will be definitionally at that highest item power.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, so let's talk about the details here. So sacred items are not going to drop anymore. They're kaput. You're going to be looking at normal items pre-torments, and then you're going to be chasing ancestral items once you are in torment tiers. So yeah, starting in Torment 1, they're going to start to drop. As I said, they're going to become more common as you go up, but again, they're going to stay fairly rare. They're never going to, be like the only thing that's dropping. Ancestral items are intended to be where you're finding forever items. So when you find like a really good ancestral weapon or, of whatever slot that you may not have an ancestral item for, that's going to be a big moment. That's going to be an exciting moment where you're going to get something a lot better. Because they also have their own affix band as well. So these ancestral items are going to have better affixes than their non-ancestral counterparts too. Something to note is that greater affixes only drop on ancestral items. You're not going to be finding greater affixes on non-ancestrals. So when you
chat, just so you can understand this right. So the highest eye level ancestral item just rolls with tier 1 everything. But there's no divine orbs that exist, and there's a range that it can roll between. Correct? So you just get guaranteed highest tier everything, and then you can't divine orb it. Who cares? Yeah. I don't know. Not even close, bro. Or are you saying there's actual different tiers you can get? I get this, like you can get like an enhanced tier. You can get like the Giga Juice version where like, oh shit, I procced the lucky one on that one there, and you can like upgrade it. Bro, what is happening to the chat? You guys committing suicide in chat? Can we stop doing suicide frogs?
See a greater affix drop on the ground, you're going to know that is an ancestral item. Ancestral items also have 2 tempering slots up from 1 on non-ancestrals, and they're masterworkable up to 12, whereas non-ancestrals are masterworkable up to 4. And finally, they are going to have higher aspect ranks too. So you're going to find legendary aspects that become better on ancestral items.
Stop committing suicide.
And Charles, we actually added a ton of power to legendary aspects to accommodate this. We didn't just sort of readjust where those power bands are coming from.
Yeah, all of the legendary aspects that now scale a little bit further into the ancestral tier. We basically just tacked on 5 new levels kind of on top of the current value. So you're just going to find even more powerful legendary effects than you have currently in the new ancestral tier.
It's going to be a lot of fun to find those. Okay. Whew, let's move on to Paragon. So we have some pretty big glyph updates coming with patch 2.0. There's been a significant rework to how many ranks you can earn on any given glyph.
Guys.
From 21 to 100, which is a lot of new ranks. But we want to make sure that there's still texture in that system, right? And so because of that, we also have a new a new glyph rarity, legendary. So once you upgrade a glyph to rank 46, it becomes a legendary glyph, which you can see here on the right. This spirit glyph is level 50, so it's past that 46 mark. It's legendary. You're going to get a glyph radius increase at rank 15, which is already in the live game. But you're also going to get another radius increase at rank 46 when it becomes legendary. And this is making them bigger than they could have been previously. So you're going to get more space with your glyphs because of this. And when a glyph becomes legendary, it also unlocks a significant bonus, more so than it did before. And you can see that on the bottom of this glyph here. It's got the legendary bonus, increases critical strike damage by 21.6%. And it's very important to note that this is a multiplicative bonus. This 21.6% is not an additive bonus. So you're going to be getting a lot of power from that bonus there. Something else I want to bring up is that glyphs are moving to the pit. So you're going to be upgrading your glyphs in the pit. You're no longer going to be upgrading them in Nightmare Dungeons. And it's going to be an attempt-based system. So when you finish a pit run, you're going to go to the end, and you're going to be able to have some chances to level up your glyph and increase their ranks. And if you are in a pit that is 10 tiers higher than your current glyph, you're going to have guaranteed success. And for every 20 pit tiers that that the pit level you're in is higher than your current glyph that you're trying to upgrade, you're going to get bonus ranks so that you can accelerate the process. Do you want to speak more to that, Colin?
Yeah, I think this is a really important note because you could easily look at the rank 100 and be like, "Oh my god, the grind is even longer." But based on how that
this is literally D3. It's like the exact same GR system with the exact same torment system that scales with it, and then all that swapped is instead of having legendary gems, you got legendary glyphs, and then you upgrade your glyphs with a chance at the end of the pit. It's literally D3, bro. Hey, D3 is good though. Well, it's dog shit, but it's better than D4. So, hey.
Chance works. It's guaranteed as long as you're beating pit tiers that are higher than your glyph. And then how that bonus math ends up playing out is if you're beating, for example, a pit tier 30, that's roughly somewhere between today's world tier 3 and 4. You can upgrade a glyph from 1 to 15 in 3 runs. So you think about the difference between today's game and patch 2.0, you're getting those glyphs leveled way faster if you're pushing that difficulty. And what we really wanted to do here was we've heard a ton of feedback around how the XP system for Nightmare Dungeons feels really grindy. It also just doesn't serve the Nightmare Dungeons very well, right? It's like, how do I get to the end as fast as possible, but nothing in the dungeon matters, right? And that what that does is in the pit, it's all about speed and efficiency, and it sort of embraces that. And we think that that's just really going to accelerate your pit glyph upgrading speed. And the chance, you could sort of, I want to be really clear with the chance. The chance-based system is essentially there because it felt really bad when it was binary. Like when we said, hey, you need to beat the pit tier, or you need to beat a pit that's 10 levels higher than your glyph, and if you don't, you get nothing. That just felt really bad. So the chance is not there to increase the grind or slow down progression. It's actually just there to protect from like it feeling just terrible to not get literally anything from that run. So again, to be clear, it's 100% chance as long as you're pushing difficulty. We think that this fits the content a lot better. We've heard a ton of feedback around like the pit rewards feeling lackluster, and there's not really a reason to push difficulty. You sort of just want to hone in on like 90 or 101, depending on where you're at in terms of your progression journey on live. This system really encourages you to push and gives you a tangible reward every single time you do it.
Yeah, and I think it's important that there's the consistency of like the communication between, right? So, hey, my glyphs are currently level 50. Well, what kind of pit tier should I be approaching to upgrade these? Well, somewhere in the range of 50 to 60, right? Just a little bit higher so that you can keep pushing that harder content. And also, if you have a glyph down at level 1, because maybe you haven't paid attention to that glyph, it's going to level up much faster if you are already proven yourself, proven that you can hang in pit tier 50, for instance. You're going to level those up very quickly.
I think what's also cool is if you have a build that you feel isn't doing as well as you go up in Torment, it makes it a lot easier to kind of snap something back in and catch up faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the further you progress, the easier it is to level those up. So here we have a video basically just showing off what the new UI looks like for upgrading a glyph in patch 2.0. So you can see that it's showing you the current pit level you're on, the current success chance to get a rank up. And something else I want to call out is that when you are, oh yes, right. So this is rank 45 to 46 explicitly, which is the moment where you are increasing a glyph from rare to legendary. And something important to note about that is that it does cost a fairly significant amount of gem fragments as well, but it's giving you that increased radius size and the new multiplicative legendary bonus, which is pretty sick. And here we have an example of showing how the radius gets even bigger in patch 2.0. I want to call out here that the midpoint says level 21. That is not correct. It is level 15 where the radius increases. But yeah, previously there was only one radius increase. Now with legendary glyphs at rank 46, there is a second radius increase. Okay, so let's talk about kind of getting into alting that Colin was talking about. We have realm-based Paragon points now. So your Paragon points are going to be shared across an entire realm. And remember that what a realm is like either seasonal softcore or seasonal hardcore or the same for eternal. Those are realms. And these Paragon points are going to stay latent on a pre-level 60 character. And what that means is that, if you have, let's say, 150 Paragon points on a realm, those Paragon points will remain inactive on any character that's pre-level 60. But once you hit level 60 on that character, they will have those 150 Paragon points. And it's also important to note that any Paragon points you earn on any of your characters in that realm are going to be shared among all characters in that realm. So if you earn 25 or 50 Paragon points on one character and then hop over to your alt, you're going to have 25 or 50 more Paragon points to spend on that character too. And in addition to this change, we have a pretty hefty Paragon level increase. So right now the current max besides Renown and Altar of Lilith bonuses is 200, and we're increasing that up to 300. Which is going to give you a lot more levels to chase throughout any given season.
Bro, what is going on here? Shut up, bitch! What is going on here?
Okay, and in light of these changes coming to Paragon, we've made some adjustments to the way that boards work as well. So because we're offering so much more power with legendary glyphs, and they mean so much more to your build, we're looking to set a maximum for the number of Paragon boards that you can equip at any given time. And this is also because, on live right now, the best strategy is to aim for as many glyph slots as possible. You just go off. You can oftentimes ignore whatever legendary node bonus you're getting just for the glyph slot. And we want to make sure that you're really focusing on these legendary nodes and that you're focusing on these really cool legendary glyphs that you're getting. And really think about those choices instead of gunning for every single glyph, for example.
This also complements the additional. I was just going to say this really helps complement the additional 100 more levels. Like we've heard a lot of feedback that it feels really flat once you hit 100, that there's just no more progression. You don't really need to kill drop off of them, and that kind of feels bad, right? Like I'm
gonna start speedrunning this, chat.
Like I get literally
we're gonna start speedrunning this. What is it? Chapter points off.
Monsters.
I'm gonna start speedrunning
with
it.
the board limit. We've packed a ton of power with additional Paragon levels to grind, a ton of power with the legendary glyphs. But it also creates a situation where once you've achieved all those different things, you don't feel so bad necessarily around not getting to that Paragon level 300. At a certain point, you start to really just really need to hone in on your build, and those extra Paragon points are going to start providing you more of a show of sort of how badass you are, and give you incremental progress that's a little bit less sort of demanding that you must grind through all of this content to unlock every part of your Paragon board.
Yeah, and something I'm pretty excited about this is that, sometimes on live it can feel like my goal is to
get a
new
Paragon points
board.
in. They made the Paragon points, the Paragon boards level up inside the Greater Rifts. I mean, my bad, the pit. Which are basically just legendary gems, and you got more levels and shit. Okay, all right. We're gonna just go ahead and speed run. We're just gonna skip past all this shit. We're gonna skip past all this shit to the point where they talk about the new systems.
We just progression to Paragon to itemization. I know it was a lot for people to hear. We will actually have a blog players, so it's going to be changing with patch 2.0 for Diablo 4 in regards to some of the progression items. I know, Colin, we're seeing a lot in chat of people are noting like, hey, this feels a little D3-ish in ways. I don't know if you wanted to chat or like comment on that a little bit.
It literally is.
Yeah, I'm happy to. It's definitely familiar, right? So we thought a lot about
look, and it's like, hey, come on, dude, you got us. Yeah, we just copied D3.
What is the right way to address the player feedback we've gotten a bunch of feedback around like World Tier 5, World Tier 6, World Tier 7, right? I want to be able to level up the challenge in the game. I want to be able to get more efficiency. And we wanted to do it in a way that was leaning into what we saw you all were really resonating with, which is getting to the end game faster. And we felt like, okay, well, we could add a World Tier 5 and add ancestral, uber ancestral, and increase the level cap. But that would mean you would just need to grind more to get to that point where you're finding your forever items, doing item modification. And we could add a world tier 6, uber ancestral, right? And it just sort of made us reevaluate what is important. And it's what's important to us is getting people into the end game.
How about re-envision the end game? Admit a bit of system that's not around infinite scaling. Remove all difficulty tiers, bro. Based. No more difficulty tiers. Holy shit. You can let people build their own difficulty tiers, you know what I'm saying? I mean, geez Louise. No vision. I mean, I don't know. Because all they're doing is they're just turning the entire game into a giant Greater Rift now. It's like, I don't know. Which, I guess, but fuck.
Finding their forever items, smashing monsters, getting more powerful sort of item modification and efficiency. So that was part of it. And then the other part of it, I'd say, is I think Diablo 4, more than any Diablo, has had a ton of item customization and power along the leveling journey, which really makes the leveling progression feel different, right? Like if you're tempering, if you're imbuing aspects, if you're really min-maxing the reward scheme, you can really push difficulty tiers early. If you played D3, hard is really the only real difficulty, right? But because we have so many different ways to grow your power, we think that represents a pretty fun challenge of like, how do I take all these pieces and really push as early as I can to get to that max level faster? And one more thing that's really important to note is the jumps between torments are pretty enormous. We don't expect you to sort of play it like today's D3, where you essentially log in, get your Hadrig set, and hop right into Torment 16. The jumps are actually pretty enormous between Torment 1 and 2, and it creates this really fun like progression through those Torment tiers, and it feels like a meaningful step forward when you get into Torment 2 and then a Torment 3. We're hoping this doesn't necessarily feel like a 2-hour sort of journey through the Torment tiers, and then now you're in Torment 4, and that's how you play the rest of the game.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and also one thing I'll add is, shouts to Twitch chat, everything that you say, hey, you like what we're doing, big dub. We appreciate it. Much love for the response. Also, all the people in Twitch chat who are like, I don't like this. This isn't working for me. much appreciation the same. You know, we're looking at what you're saying, we're thinking about it, and we're going to try to incorporate it and make the game better. And I think it's interesting I'm seeing the sort of Diablo 3 references, and it's like, from our perspective, if something really worked well in Diablo 3, that's more important to us to like do the thing that the players felt like was working for them than anything else, right? The fact that we've done it before in any form, to me, wouldn't stop us from doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
just doing it the right way.
Yeah,
I just said do it the right way for D4. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
This is the difficulty of doing everything remote. It feels like it's like a Zoom call, but interrupting each other. And also big shout out to Twitch chat for calling out Jeevan's cord management. I've seen that message a few times already. But so thanks, Aislinn. Thank you, Colin. I know Colin's going to be joining us more on a couple other topics, but we still have a lot to talk about in this stream. And the next thing that we do want to talk about is class changes and everything. So Charles will be taking us through all the class changes for patch 2.0.
Yeah, right, awesome. So before we get into some of the slides and details, I just wanted to thank Colin and Aislinn for talking about all the systemic updates that are coming. How we're going to test your character and how you're going to progress through it. But my topic's going to be a bit more about how, what are the exact abilities and skills and new legendary effects and uniques that you're gonna get to take on these awesome challenges that are set up through the difficulty tier system. And also a slight disclaimer: PTR is a very early build for whatever is going to go live on.
Anyone disagree? We're going to skip all the class stuff. Because ultimately, I don't think class really matters. If the game's got engaging endgame and it's fun to do it, it's like, yeah, so what? They like, oh, they made the druid dogs better. Oh, they made the sorceress thing that was OP a little bit nerfed. And then they buffed some other thing. The new skills. New items, new passives. Stone Burst. Okay, so there's like a new skill for Druid. Okay, so we look at the new skills. Tampering updates, they changed tampering. Ultimate skill ranks. Barbarian Mighty Throw. Okay, so apparently there's like... Okay, let's go.
All right, skills. So those are some of the general updates. Let's now talk about the new content coming for each individual class. Okay. Starting here with our Barbarian. All right, so sometimes you're playing as a Barbarian and you experience a problem, right? You are standing here and there is an enemy over there. What to do? Well, a good Barbarian is going to throw their weapon at the enemy over there to kill them at a distance. Right, so now we've got a new skill called Mighty Throw. It's going to hurl your weapon at an enemy. It's going to deal damage on impact. And then it's going to stick in the ground and do some pulses of damage over time. So even if the initial impact doesn't kill them, there's going to be some extra pulses there. Like that. Wow. Additionally, we've got some upgrades for it, just like our other skills. Enhanced Mighty Throw is going to increase your attack speed while the weapon is out. And then you can either opt in a Fighter's Mighty Throw, which is going to give bonuses to that pulsing damage. It causes your weapon swaps to pulse for more and give you a bit of barrier. Or you can opt into Warrior's Mighty Throw, which is going to dramatically increase the initial impact damage, and it's going to stun enemies on impact. Let's take a video clip of this in action. All right, so we've got Barb, just simple example here with a few enemies. Throws out this ephemeral version of the weapon, lands, deals a big chunk of damage, and then pulses over time before returning back to you.
Oh, wait, maybe it says you got
I was a huge fan of double throw in Diablo 2, so this is really exciting.
Wish you want to spec really heavily into this? Yeah, you're going to be throwing weapons out like crazy. All right, so we've also got some new key passives and new legendary Paragon nodes for every class here. So for Barbarian, we've got Barbed Carapace. This is a key passive, so it's going to increase your thorns based on how much fury you're spending. And whenever you cast a skill with a cooldown, it's going to grant you Unhindered for a duration, which allows you to move through enemies. And then enemies that are close to you are going to take are going to take damage from your thorns every second. You're going to kind of pulse damage of your thorns every second. Now this is really cool. It really enables Thorns Barb, which we had a little bit of support for, but one of the big problems of Thorns...
The thing is, they can have the best class design in the game, and the game still can be base dog shit. And it still looks like the base game is going to be... Well, to be honest, you know what? With the pit tiers and the pit levels, I mean, it looks like the game's going to be like D3 with updates. That sounds playable to me. right? It sounds playable to me. Yeah, but I don't really give a fuck
Is that
much about the passes. Okay, so you got a thorn thing. We'll skip past this.
It makes you so ugly that whenever you are berserking, all of your damage.
The ugly bastard helm. Wait, what?
Is variants, of course, to invest those.
Wait, what?
All right, we also got some new items, of course. We've got the Ugly Bastard Helm, a new unique helm for barbarians. And it makes you so ugly that whenever you are berserking, all of your damage is converted into fire damage. And so that's really interesting. You know, barbars always had this little bit of like light fire theme. You had a few different effects that dealt fire damage.
But how do you...
And now if you really want to play a fire barb, this is the unique helm for you. Also playing into that, we've got Aspect of Flaming Rampage, which causes your charge to deal some fire damage, and Aspect of Shuddering Steel, which will cause your Steel Grasp and Iron Maelstrom to do some bonus physical damage.
What the fuck?
All right, moving on to the Druid. The Druid gets a new skill, a new core skill, in fact, called Stone Burst. And this is a core skill that's channeled. It kind of has a very unique kind of input mechanism compared to pretty much any other skill in Diablo 4. And as you're channeling it, you target an area, and as you channel it, the affected area grows in size over about 1 second of channeling. And at any point, you can release the channel, and it's going to deal a big burst of damage to whatever size you kind of landed on there.
It's Stone Blast. Instead of Flame Blast, you get Stone Blast.
You could tap it really quickly and just do one pulse of damage to a small area, or you can channel up for a little bit longer and hit a much wider area, depending on the exact combat scenario you find yourself in, or how the enemies are distributed on the battlefield here. Of course, we've got our upgrades that increase damage to the enemies hit in the initial radius, so really doubling down on that single target capability of a core skill.
Right.
And Primal Stone Burst.
Bro, PoE copied a bunch of shit from D2, right? They literally straight up stole them 1-to-1. All right, so Blizzard's allowed to just straight up steal. Like, bro, hey, if you're a class designer from, D4, bro, just go through and look at some of the popular fun skills in PoE. Just copy paste them, reskin them. It's fine. It's ethical. I think it's fine. I think it's absolutely fine. I don't give a fuck if they just took Flame Blast and turned it to Stone Blast. Dude, PoE's all of PoE's main skills are stolen from D2, straight up ripped 1-to-1. Like, that's ethical.
Gives you some attack speed, and Raging Stone Burst will dramatically increase the spirit cost, but also give it a ton more damage. So if you have a ton of spirit generation, then that might be the upgrade you look for in Stone Burst. Let's see a video of this in action. All right, so you see it ticks up. There's like 3 different levels, like small, medium, and large. In this one, the Druid kind of held it for a while, but you could release it at any time. And so here you see just kind of rapid firing a lot of quick, small shots, just because they knew that would be enough to clear out the enemies here. And also while you're channeling, it does some pulses of damage to enemies in that area as well.
I'm gonna honestly, he's looking like that initial barbarian skill looked kind of jank, and this one here looks kind of jank.
The channel explosion is so satisfying to blow up just so many monsters.
Yeah, it gets huge,
really feels amazing.
It looks so sweet too. I really hats off to the VFX artists who worked on making these look so beautiful. The new skills here. Key passive called One with Nature.
Oh shit! They finally making they finally making them good. Your companion skills deal each gain one additional. Companion skills get each gain one additional companion and deal 50% increased damage. Gain the effect of ravens, wolves, and poison creeper. You may only select one key passive. Oh shit! Untamed casting companion skills grants +4 ranks to your companion skills for 5 seconds. Shit, okay. So you're still gonna press buttons. You deal 3% increased damage while healthy, and 3% increased damage while above 100% movement speed. They can stack. Okay, whatever. You deal 5% increased damage for 8 seconds after casting ultimate skill. 5% increase. Is he gonna say they wait? What is this? All those are complete dog shit, bro. I mean, the companion ones at least. The thing is, it doesn't matter how. Like, dude, the companions are so dog shit. They walk in, they get like stunned constantly, CC'd the whole time, do 0 damage, and then die. Like, and then they updated it, and it still happened. And they updated it, and it still happened. I don't know if it's actually fixed now. But yeah.
that really empowers companion builds. You know, we've heard a lot that players love playing with companions. They're wolves, they're poison creepers, they're ravens, and this is going to be the key passive for you. So all of your companion skills gain an additional companion, and they deal increased damage. And there's also a little bonus, basically, with you gain the passive effect of all of the companion skills. Now, if you're taking this key passive, you're probably taking these companions anyway, but just in case, you know, your build is such that, well, I just want to take, you know, 2 out of the 3, right? I can put wolves and poison creeper on my bar, but, you know, maybe you don't have enough skill slots to put in ravens. You're still going to be able to get the passive effect of that when you take this key passive, because we just want you to have tons of these companions to your companion skills.
All right.
So,
Yep,
really leading a video of really
what the hell?
really leading a wolf pack here, right? So this includes wolves
unique.
with the Storm's Companion to turn them into lightning werewolves, and I'm sure there's some other ones here, like aspect of the Stampede is probably involved. You just have, what is that, 7 wolves following you around. You really get to lead the wolf pack.
What is that AI, bro? What is that?
This is the best video in our presentation. Well, actually, no, sorry. This is the second best video in our presentation. You guys will see the best video in our presentation, but yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. For all you werewolf lovers out there.
Hey, that's me, bro. Hell yeah. I'm a lover of werewolves, baby. Unleash the beasts, bro. Get that shit, homie. Bro, have they actually tested this in high-tech content, though? Because that looks real. Because you gotta understand, what is the Meta D4? The Meta D4 is like fucking cunts that literally kill everything instantly. Like, that looks really slow. I hope that they play test this shit and make sure it's actually viable. Right? Yeah. What the hell?
This one is going to be really sweet. So new items. So they've got this for your Stone Burst, the new core skill.
Okay.
So
yeah, can we only think much about this? While channeling Stone Burst, and for 2 seconds afterwards, you gain 50% physical reduction. Stone Burst final explosion deals 50% increased damage. Further increased by 50% for each size. 50% for each size increase. Yeah, no.
Grant you some damage.
Awful game design. Skip past us, so who guess? Yep.
Ultimate skill. So
okay.
More. Okay. But let's move on to the Necromancer, because we've got a lot to get through. We've got Soul Rift. This is a new Darkness ultimate skill. So Necromancers kind of had 3 ultimates already. They had one that was Blood, one that was Bone, and one that was related to Summoning. And now we've kind of completed it, and we've added a Darkness or Shadow damage ultimate. Soul Rift creates an area around your character, kind of follows with you, that just constantly deals damage over time. And it's going to be sucking out the souls of enemies who you're hitting. And every time it sucks out a soul from an enemy, you're going to gain some essence, and you're going to gain a barrier. So you can stack up this barrier. It helps you be survivable, and it deals, really good damage over time. Supreme Soul Rift gives you bonus damage for every soul that you absorb, and Prime Soul Rift causes the soul absorption to also apply vulnerable. Let's take a video of this in action.
Yo, do you guys find that like the ultimates usually almost always shit unless they're like a pure utility ultimate? Like it seems like because, and that's by nature of the fact that there's like all these items that make your other ability that you're actually using to clear the content. Like, oh, this ability does double damage, this ability does triple damage, and then by the time you've got all your items on, your main ability that you're using does like 15 times as much damage as your ultimate, and it's like, well, then the only way you can use an ultimate is if it's like, oh yeah, it just gives you multiplicative damage increase, or gives you resource back, or gives you damage reduction. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like the 6-link dilemma in PoE, where you always, once you have your 6-link skill, every other skill's shit in comparison, kind of, unless it's got some utility. I don't know. I wonder if they're solving that somehow. I don't know.
Right, so enemies all coming up.
Super useful, Charles, right? Know that you have another way to give yourself defenses. Necro has historically had some trouble with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really important part here. And when we get to the next slide, talking about some of the passives, I'll highlight. We're adding a bit more barrier into the where.
What do we got? Okay, what do we got? Enemies affected by your vulnerable, crowd control, damage over time effects, increased affliction, take 50% increased damage from your minions and you. Because skills deal 2k shadow damage to enemies that have affliction. This amount increases by 30% of your damage to crowd control, vulnerable, and damage. Okay, so you can scale it up with stats. Interesting. Dots. Scales with minions as well. Cursed enemies take 10% increased damage from your minions. This bonus is increased by 10% for each time they curse up to 40%. What is up with them just adding a million multipliers into the game? I just don't understand. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. What are they doing?
Applying.
I mean, yeah, it looks OP. Lots of multiplicative damage increases.
Skip. Love playing with it.
It pairs really well with the.
Yep.
You answer really. All right, let's talk about some of the new items coming for a spent skill. Of course, you gain some.
What do we got? Soul restoration increased by 0.5 seconds for every 30 essence you spend while it's active. Up to 8 seconds. Soul deals 200% of shadow per second for every 30 essence you gain while it's active. Wow. Severus no longer returns. Okay, what is this? Reaping Lotus Aspect. Sever no longer returns and instead splits into 3 specters that expand out from its apex. But why does it need to have the 120%? Wait. 100%. Okay. All right. Okay. Whatever, dude. Fuck it. Okay. I feel like every single thing in the game should either A, not have a damage boost on it, like it should augment a way it ability functions, or B, it has something that reduces its damage. Unless it's already got it, unless the thing that changes the mechanic is a downside, then it could increase the damage.
Skill 30.
Like adding arbitrary amounts of damage on every single thing is stupid.
Nearby enemy reconverge bones skill. How long?
Okay, Rogue
adds a bit more AOE capability for your Bone Spirit build. Very cool. All right. So, Rogue. Rogue gets Dance of Knives. This is a new channeled skill for Rogue. It's an agility cutthroat skill. And it also has a pretty interesting mechanic where it has some charges that will recharge, and how long you can channel it is based on how many charges you have. It's going to take 1 charge per second of channeling, but there's no energy cost or just like a normal cooldown. Here you can just channel it as long as you have charges. And while you're channeling, you're going to be spinning around. You're going to be throwing knives at enemies nearby, and you're going to gain some movement speed and dodge chance. Really is kind of like a spin to win kind of build on Rogue here.
That sounds OP.
You got Enhanced Dance of Knives, which gives you some charge refund as you're moving with it, because that's what we really want to encourage is this constant motion, this forward momentum. And Methodical Dance of Knives drops some stun grenades.
Anything that allows you to damage while moving is OP, and like if they give you like movement speed as well on top of the fact that you're doing damage while moving, all you gotta do is make this ability come online and do enough damage to clear shit, and then it's like the most broken shit in the game, right?
When you finish channeling, or Disciplined Dance of Knives will slow enemies and has a chance to pierce through the enemies that you're throwing the daggers at.
Let's see what it does.
Let's take a look at this in action. So here we got the Rogue just going spinning, throwing some daggers around at everyone, and
okay, well, I mean,
yeah,
this is awesome for speed farming. This is like the best speed farming skill.
And that animation is just amazing.
Absolutely.
Look at that Rogue Blade
And you
Storm,
can see
bro.
there at the end they had the upgrade that drops a bunch of stun grenades at the end. Obviously, enemies were all dead, but if you use this to get into a big cluster of enemies, then you stop the channel.
It looks shit, but imagine once like you put on 5 damage multipliers, and then it's literally just one-shotting everything. So now you're like got a button that you press, and it just literally one-taps everything, and you're moving through the map at the same time, right?
Some stun grenades, reset some of your charges, and you're good to start spinning again. Ton of fun.
Yeah, those are perfect for like you run into an elite pack after slaughtering a bunch of normals, and it just annihilates the elites. It feels amazing.
Okay, shit. Alchemical admixture dealing 3 types of different non-physical damage, increases the potency of your immune skills by 40% for 5 seconds. Okay. All right. Okay. What's that? Shadow, poison, and what is the other one? What is the other? Oh, cold dot. What's the other one they use? I forget. Potency. Cold. It is cold. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Potency. The potency is further increased by 20% of the total amount of your bonus damage to poison, shadow, or cold. Oh, there you go, guys. Same sort of scaling thing. All right, casting ability, subterfuge skill, increases damage to your next skill by 50%. All right, dude. All right. Because like at least that's a damage multiplier. Don't get me wrong, but at least it has some sort of gameplay interaction. It's not just like you deal 50% more damage. At least you have to do something. And these are the ones that always quite gain 4% increased damage for 4 seconds after rating. After dodging, gain 2% damage reduction for 4 seconds. You have one skill deal 50% increased damage. Yeah, I fuck with this shit. Critical strike chance with marksman and cutthroat is increased by 3%. Okay,
it's not fighters.
What do we got here? Pit Fighter's Gull. Unique Ancestral Ring. Casting Smoke Grenade. increases your critical strike damage by 33% for 6 seconds. 6 seconds leaves behind a cloud of shadows. When you're in the cloud, you gain stealth. Once per second. Okay. Okay, so you can go... Okay, cool. You can be in like a little smoke bomb. You're like Akali, bro. You guys like Akali, bro. He's in the fucking smoke cloud. And you get +3 to mending of obscurity. What the hell's that? Alright, aspect of the star shards. Knives from Dance of Knives have a 50% chance to shatter, sending 6 shards of metal out away from the target, dealing damage. Yeah, this shit, bro. And providing that you can get enough damage multipliers on it to make the damage real, this looks like this ability is just going to make rogues completely fucking broken, bro. And they're just going to, like, run around. I mean, like, what? 6 shards? You shoot out a knife that hits a guy and then shoots into 6 shards? I mean, it's going to be fucking ridiculous. Stop posting porn. Who's posting porn? If someone's posting porn, ban them. Literally. Take them out. When entering stealth, create a cloud that deals poison damage. Oh, so this one here would even make you poison cunts. So you'd be in there just, like, farting on people, bro. So boom. Cloud comes out. You guys will start taking a shit in them, bro. Boom. Okay. Lucky it. Up to 100% chance of hitting or killing a frozen enemy to create ice splinters that fire away from them, dealing cold damage. That sounds OP for clearing, bro. It sounds like Herald of Ice. Alright. Yep.
Called the Familiar.
Okay, Sorceress.
You as well. All right, moving on to the Sorceress. The Sorceress gets a new conjuration skill called the Familiar. This is a conjuration skill that is all 3 elements. It is a shock skill, a pyromancy skill, and a frost skill. So there's 3 charges of it, so you can cast it back to back, and you summon a familiar of the element of your last skill cast. So if you just cast a pyromancy skill, you're going to summon a fire familiar. If you just cast a lightning skill, you'll summon a lightning familiar, and same with a cold, you'll summon a cold familiar. And with the enhanced effect, these familiars will do a bonus effect. So the fire familiar will constantly apply some burning to enemies that it's around, the cold familiar will chill, and lightning familiar will stun. And of course, their damage type is going to be based on what type they are, so that it'll benefit from all of your bonus fire damage.
And that aura, Charles, is really great, right, to tap into some of the the passives on the sorcerer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if there's a lot of passives that say, hey, you get bonuses against burning enemies, for instance. Now, if you have the fire familiar, that's going to really easily be able to apply that constantly, and you're going to have pretty high uptime on having familiars out because of the way the charge and duration works. Let's take a look at this in action.
Okay.
All right, so initially we cast a frost familiar here, right? It's jumping around and it's landing, it's dealing frost damage. Then we cast a fire skill. Now we get a fire familiar jumping around and kind of dive bombing on enemies. And then finally we get a shock familiar, a lightning familiar here that's going to deal lightning damage. So you can kind of mix and match these depending on what skills you use, what combination you cast them in.
It's kind of like brand gameplay. It's kind of like brand gameplay. I mean, yeah.
And it's really flexible.
It's kind of slow.
Into a lot of different builds. Even if you're just a pure, say, fire sword, and you just want to do fire damage, you just want to do burning.
Again, the fire one's constantly dotting everything all the time, even when it's not hitting.
Because you're just going to be able to summon the fire familiar. But it really reaches its maximum potential as you're kind of mix and matching these to suit the situation and apply the debuffs that you want on it.
The devs, bro, they're so cooked. They always have this dream of like people mix and matching. Bro, there's just gonna be one that's OP and people are just gonna spam that one. Okay, bro, that's how it always works. So, dog. Okay, stop coping, bro. Stop coping.
For the Sega demonstration.
The only way that you're gonna do that, is you slap on a fucking. Oh yeah, each familiar gives you 50% more damage with other familiars of a different type or some shit. Like that's what they. To be fair, that's what D3 guys did. That's what they did. They're like, nah, you want to? Nah, fuck you. We're actually going to force you to use all 3, bitch.
I think we only have a couple of them out on screen, but I think you can have up to 6, right?
Yeah, you can have up to 6, and that would make a lot more sense once we get to talk about some of the unique items that are coming with this patch.
Okay.
But first,
alignment, casting any skill grants 1 stack of your alignment, or 3 if your previous skill cast was a different element. After getting 100 stacks, you become enlightened, and you lose 5 stacks per second. While online, you get 25% damage, 45% mana regen, and 20% attack speed. Okay. Each fire lightning cold attack you make against an enemy increases the damage it takes by 10% per element up to 30%. There you go, guys. Okay. They're really trying to make this archetype real, aren't they? You generate 6 barrier per 0.5 seconds for your maximum life up to 30%. This effect is lost for 5 seconds after losing health. Okay, so you can't... Oh, shit. So it's like an ES, bro. ES, log in. ES, but barrier build, bro. Barrier build. You gain 2% damage reduction while you're active barrier. Your frost, shock, and pyronacid damage is increased by 1% for each skill you've equipped of that type. Damn, they really pushing into this, aren't they, chat? They really are. Evocation, just straight up CDR.
Let's talk about...
Ah! No! Oh, fuck! Where was I? No! Oh, wait. Oh. I fucking pressed the 0 key, bro. I pressed the 0 key, bro. We're almost at the end, chat. Look. Okay. I put my hand. I fat-fingered, bro. Fat-fingered. Sheed bindings. Casting familiar now summons all 3 elemental variants at once. Familiar's duration is increased by 50% and it's cool. Then reduced by 2 seconds. Well, didn't that just undermine all the shit that you just spent all that time putting in to like have all the different... Wait, what? Okay, I guess this way of automating it though. Fair enough. After channeling Incinerate for 2 seconds, deal 440 critical fire damage per second for 5 seconds. Casting Incinerate refreshes and maintains this bonus. Okay. After charge bolts hit 50 times, your next 3 cast charge bolts become waves that pierce and deal 1500 critical shock damage. Okay, cool. Casting Pyromancy Shock, Frost skills conjure a matching elemental dagger around you that pierces through enemies. Dealing 440 damage after 3 seconds. The damage is increased by 100%, matching your elemental skill you cast. Cool. Alright, whatever. Zooming. New mythic uniques. Let's see how them talk about
of course,
it.
All right, so I think... right, we've got new mythic uniques. Of course, how could I forget? New mythic unique items. These are the strongest items in the game. We've got Shroud of False Death. And I think the really cool part about this is it's just inherent affix. It's going to grant +1 skill rank to all passives. And this is really awesome as we're adding new passives into the skill tree. This is just a ton of power for this new unique chest. And its effect is, if you haven't attacked in the last 2 seconds...
Wait, did they just like... I don't get it. Did they really just type in like, hey, 111's cool number. All right, fuck it, 222. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, fuck it, 333. Like, did they really just do that? What the fuck are we doing here, boys? What are we doing here? I guess I just like the numbers. Fuck it. You know, why not? Hey, log in.
You're going to gain stealth and bonus movement speed. Now, stealth historically has just been a mechanic that has been on rogues and a little bit on druids with the werewolf builds. But now every class, if you get this mythic unique, is going to have some access to stealth. You can, drop out of combat for a little bit, and then you get into stealth, and you get tons of movement speed to, maybe move on to the next pack or move somewhere else in the dungeon.
And it's a really simple line, all passives, but it's literally all passives, which is insane. Like, it's incredibly powerful.
Sounds broken.
Absolutely.
Sounds pretty nuts.
And we've also got the Heir of Perdition, a mythic unique helm. And this one has...
It doesn't sound fun, it just sounds really strong, right?
It says, give into hatred.
It's like if you had an item that said, oh yeah, just you deal 20% more damage and you deal, you just have 20% damage reduction. Although I think there's probably some broken passives, maybe they could give you some maybe this item activates like certain interactions that you couldn't otherwise have. I don't know, maybe there's like something you can break. What if it breaks a certain mechanic? Dude, 111 plus 2 is 2 plus 3 is 3 equals 666. What the fuck, bro? The demon number.
And earn Lilith's favor, increasing your damage dealt by 60%. So just baseline, this is a huge damage bonus. And the second line here says, slaughtering enemies to briefly steal Lilith's favor from... Or slaughter enemies to briefly steal Lilith's favor from nearby allies. So this means if you're playing in a group with somebody else who happens to have the Heir of Perdition equipped, you are able to steal Lilith's favor from them. Both will only favor one of you. and you actually gain double the bonus of this, right? If you steal someone else's favor, you get 120% bonus damage, and they would get 0. But if you're just playing this solo, no one else has their prediction around, it's just a flat 60% bonus damage, which is still a ton and very impactful for a Mythic unique. All right, I believe that is actually everything. Wow, that is so much new class content, new skills, new legendaries, new everything. And I didn't even get to talk about some of our other, more regular class balance changes, updates to existing skills and legendaries. So make sure you definitely check out the patch notes. There is still more changes to come, but we're already really deep in this campfire chat, and we didn't want to extend it too much longer. So make sure you check out the patch notes for all the details on those other changes coming as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Charles. I know we have gone through a lot of information. We're in hour 1.5 of this campfire chat. As I said, and I mentioned on social, like this is going to be a very beefy campfire chat. We still have 2 more things that we do want to really cover off. And as Charles had mentioned, there are a lot of other class changes that we didn't actually fit within the presentation, like a lot of balance-specific items. So that will be on patch notes, and patch notes will be available on our blog for PTR immediately after the stream. So please check that out. We are going to jump into some quality of life items. And so, Colin, do you want to take us through some quick quality of life items that we can with 2.0?
Yeah, I'll go quick so we can get to the super exciting, cool thing. So the first one here is you can now select your preferred town portal location. So how that's going to work is you're going to open up the map and hover over any of the waypoints, and when you right click on it, it's going to set that as essentially your preferred location, and whenever you town portal, it's going to take you there. So this is really helpful for when you're doing whispers, for example. You just set the tree of whispers as your preferred location, do some whispers, when you press T, you go right there. You don't have to open up the map and click the waypoint and click on accept. It's all very seamless, and it's just removing a lot of the inputs that you have to do to get back to town quickly. The next thing here is we're adding a dungeon key inventory tab for things like nightmare sigils. So that just gives you more space for more activities, so much room for activities. The next one here is we've done a pretty substantial rework of monster CC, and this is in the spirit of we want to have really clear sort of delineations between normal monsters and elite monsters, and we didn't like how often you're getting slowed down and how mandatory unstoppable could feel. So I always felt bad to be fighting this huge horde of enemies, and you see this elite, and you're paying attention to the elite, and then this goat man mauler comes up and sneak attacks you and knocks you down for 3 seconds, and that's the thing that kills you. That always felt like bullshit, right? So what we've done is we've sort of overhauled a lot of the normal monster CCs to be quick and snappy. Like you still feel them, you kind of want to avoid them still, but they're much less sort of the reason why you die entirely. So the vampire impale, when the two-hander comes and stabs you and stuns you for 3 seconds, that's turned into an immobilize. You can't move, but you can just smack him in the face. And then the werewolf leap is another great example where previously they'd come out of stealth and leap attack on you, and you get dazed and you walk around confused, and now it does a quick knockback. This next change
those guys on the swords were fucked. They were fucked.
I think it's a Blaster's Delight, which is all the monsters that had really long death animations all die instantly. You don't have to wait for the loot to hit the ground. It's very satisfying. The big ass
what
spider
is this?
post.
People literally did this in fucking Valheim. They modded the game. What is this? People's obsession with going fast. What is this? They're the loot must drop instantly. Why must I wait for the loot to drop? I want it all. I want to kill everything. I want it. The loot need to... What is that?
Crawl towards you. When you kill them, they pop instantly, and all the spiders go and hit the walls, and it feels great. The zombies feel really good too. They pop instantly when you kill them, and it's a very satisfying experience. So this should speed up combat quite a bit. It just feels really good. The next thing here is their socketable inventory tab, another tab for you to put socketables, like gems and other socketables. And then there's also an additional stash tab that we're going to add. The next thing, if we could roll the clip, we took out just about all the... All would go up, and then click on the plunger and don't get hit by the spikes. That's all been replaced entirely with just monster packs of varying sizes, and it's just way more seamless. In this case, we only rolled some normal monsters, but sometimes it's a couple of elite packs. You never really know what you're going to get. It's like an Easter or a Kinder Egg, I should say. And it just helps the dungeon flow substantially, to just sort of blast through those things. And then a handful of dungeons have had their procedural logic updated, just so there's more variation in the layouts. So
wait, dungeon midpoint holdouts removes have been replaced with monster packs. Okay, interesting. Do you know what? The tabs, the dungeon key tab sounds nice. The socketable infantry tab sounds nice. I mean, it just sounds nice. It sounds like Affinities, except it's you have your bank on your character, right? That sounds nice.
So when you play it, it's going to roll out differently. This is really just iterating.
Not really feeling the weight though, but I guess
sort of flow-inducing.
This is
not slowing you down.
A game that they want you to feel the weight.
It's minor, but it actually feels pretty good, and it has a big impact on the game. When you get those Paragon and level up notifications, we're actually going to tell you how many. So sometimes you'll realize, oh my god, I have 15 skill points I can spend, and it actually tells you the number. It's a nice quality of life change.
Okay.
So I think that's everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Colin, for running through quickly. I appreciate the efficiency of going through all the quality of life changes. Now I know Jeevan has been very quiet over here. He's only chimed in a little bit. And we do want to talk about a new thing that is coming to Vessel of Hatred specifically, and for Vessel of Hatred players. So Jeevan, will you talk us through it a little bit?
All right, here we go.
Yeah, so it's my privilege to kind of talk about a feature that the whole team's been working very hard on that we haven't really mentioned much.
Get your Pog Champs ready.
And, we looked at the expansion. We had all these cool things,
Get your Pog Champs ready.
Torment, new class skills, Spiritborn. But we thought there was a hole. And we wanted to particularly give build crafters a new way to play for Vessel of Hatred. This is for folks who, like me, whose dream cooking show has nothing to do with British baking, but instead would be called Colin's Kitchen. Twitch chat, if you would binge Colin's Kitchen, let us know. Let's. And I think some of you already kind of have an idea.
It's fun, chat. Stop. It's funny. They're friends and they're making friendly jokes. You don't need to cringe at everything. Yeah, we're not in the group, so we don't really get the joke. But like, okay, Colin's clearly the guy who's cooking up shit. He's cooking shit up, bro.
So yeah, let's get into. As some of you already know, we're going to be talking about rune words.
Yo.
What? So let's start with a little background. So rune words were in Diablo 2. And they were a very powerful way of augmenting gear with socketable content. And there's a lot of good sort of nostalgic feelings. They were popular. They were remembered fondly. You can look on the right. That's one of the most iconic examples from Diablo 2. The name is Enigma, and you would make it with runes, Ja, If, Bur.
Bro, I thought that was stupid. I think it's dumb. The fact that this is the one where everyone gets to teleport, right? Fast round walk, 85%. Damage taken. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. This one's good.
Get you some
Wait, what? Oh no, it says teleport. Nah, that shit is dumb as fuck, bro. Yeah, I thought that. I always cited that one. I hated that one. Fuck that one. That everyone gets that shit and just starts spamming teleport and they just don't walk anywhere and they all just teleport and it just completely removes like class flavor. I think it's just straight up negative. I thought it was always one of the most dog shit things about D2. Whenever I see it happen, like a barb's just got the shit on and they're just teleporting through the game. What am I even looking at, mate? Hey, whatever though, dude. Whatever. I just you get what I'm saying. I thought it was stupid. And you know what? Whenever I did the recent Diablo 2 remaster playthrough, I also thought it was stupid in that. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Really cool skills that would come out of it when you put it all together. And for Diablo 4, we wanted to retain the soul of what Diablo 2 runewords did, which is combining socketable components and creating more powerful items. But we also wanted to do something that felt appropriately fresh and new. And we wanted to lean into what's unique about the modern game
what have they done?
To make the Diablo 4 version of runewords and make it stand on its own and really feel like the right version to be given to players.
Well, I mean, and what was so awesome about Diablo 2 runewords, right, was you got this set of runes that made a god item, right, and it broke the rules, like being able to teleport on other classes. Like, what the hell? Barbarian is teleporting across the screen? Stupid. We really wanted to embrace that in a way that extended builds and didn't necessarily enforce you must play with this item. And we're really excited to share what that's sort of manifested, right?
It's dog shit.
Yeah, and you all have a lot of...
It's not pre-watched. It's literally... I think it's dog shit. Go back to my D2 VODs. Who was there then? Who heard me bitching about that back then? Don't wrong. The room was like stealth were good. The room I've always bitched about. This is something I've bitched specifically about Enigma multiple times. I've always said it's fucking dumb. I like rumors as an idea, like it's a cool crafting mechanic. And it gives you like a good leveling chest. It gives you a good item that good solid item there, guaranteed, locked in. But I just specifically Enigma, I think it's the dumbest one ever, bro. For real.
Builds that you started with from the base game, and we want to add on to those.
Okay.
So, what are rune words? They're a way for you to make your own spells. So there are two types of runes. There's runes of ritual, and they specify actions from the player that they have to trigger.
Okay.
So you can see the example here of the Yul rune, which is a legendary quality rune of ritual. You have to cast a skill, which has a cooldown. So, Frost Nova or something like that.
Okay.
Then you have runes of invocation. And these grant powerful effects as a result of satisfying those runes of ritual. Okay. So the example here, the Gar rune, gives you 2.5% critical strike chance for 5 seconds. And you can stack up to 10 times, up to 25%.
Jesus Christ.
And you can mix and match these. There'll be a lot of different runes of ritual and runes of invocation, and you can put them together as you see fit. So when you combine a rune of ritual and rune of invocation, you pair them together, you put them in an item with 2 sockets, boom, you form a rune word. And as you can tell, there's going to be rarity. We're going to have magic, rare, and legendary, and the higher rarity runes will have more potent conditions or effects. So one of the important elements of this is called offering, which is the rune resource system. So your runes of ritual will generate offering, and they're meant to feed into their linked runes of invocation so that they can consume that offering. And the sort of more demanding rituals that we would ask of you as a player gain you more offering.
Okay, wait.
At the same time,
so gain 30 offering, cast skill with the cooldown, requires 25 offering. Cooldown 1 second. Okay. So he could have another 25. He could have like Gaga. He can go Yul Gaga if he wanted, right? Because he's got 30 offering. All right. Okay, so that's the limit. Yeah, so you can go Yul Gaga. Why not? Why couldn't he? He's got 25 offering. Requires 25 offering. He's got 50 offering. I'm saying, well, I'm not saying that necessarily this will 100% stack. I'm saying, like, that's how it works, right? Am I understanding this correctly? He can't, you get 2 6. Wait, what about the 3-socket item, bro? What about a 3-socket item, bro? The fuck? Okay, let's continue listening.
The more powerful invocations that you would try to get require more offering. And so there's sort of like shared economy there.
So the OPF...
So you can look at these runes on the right. You get 50 offering for casting a skill with a cooldown. And this rune only requires 25 offering for it to trigger.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So when you cast a skill with a cooldown... Okay, so it's not like a cap. Okay, I thought it was like a limit to what you can combine. Oh, I see. So yes, when you cast a skill with a cooldown, you gain 50 offering. So that means it would proc this twice, but it's going to cool down 1 second, so probably just procs once. Okay, yes, that's... All right, okay.
That's where overflow comes in. Overflow is when
do?
an invocation receives an offering in excess of what's needed to trigger it.
Okay, what's overflow do?
Put more simply, we want you to have a mix and match system, but we want the pieces to be not super hard that they can't fit together easily when they have some rough edges. So many invocations can get different bonus effects.
Multiple stacks, look.
Some of them might get increased radius to the effect. Some of them might get increased duration. But it'll always be proportional to the overflow amount. So as an example here, the Gar rune only requires 25 offering, and it's getting double that, which is 50 from the Yul rune. So every time you cast a skill with a cooldown, you'll get 2 stacks of 2.5% critical strike chance, or 5% crit strike. And so that's kind of how you get to play with this system, and you get to optimize it in different ways.
And it creates a lot of flexibility, right? Even like if you do a really demanding ritual trigger, for example, on a really low offering rune of invocation, it's almost a way to start scaling that rune of invocation in a completely different way beyond just triggering the rune.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. It lets us as developers be more flexible in creating wide ranges of effects, sort of small ones, big ones, and also the same for the rituals. And you get to kind of decide which ones you think fit your build or are cool. And we do our best to make sure that you can almost cook up anything. So a few rules. Runes can be socketed into items with 2 sockets. We've added another item to get 2 sockets for Vessel of Hatred. So you'll have your helm, your 2-hander, your gloves, your helm, 2-hander, pants, and chest. They can only be paired with a rune of the opposite type. So you have to pair a rune of ritual with a rune of invocation.
Okay.
You can have a maximum of 2 rune words equipped. You can't equip the same rune twice. And they're available for users who own Vessel of Hatred.
Oh, get fucked, losers! You don't own it, bro. Don't own it. Get fucked. You don't get rune words, pussy. Fuck you, fucking poor people. Bitches. All right. Okay. So it's very basic. It's ultra turbo basic. I mean, think about the combinatorics chat of this setup. It's going to be very, very limited, because you can only do opposite types, and there's only 2 slots. So it's very much they've pre-made every single one of them for you and pre-made every single combination, and it's very much not going to be like some secret fucking tech here. But I'm going to rope. Why are you going to... Combinatorics is a real word, chat. Yes, Google it. Yes. So if you have... To see you go from 2 to 3 rune words, and you remove the rule of having opposite types, it's going to quickly proliferate out, and you're going to have many, 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 many combinations. Whereas this, you can only have 2, and they can only be opposite. So it's extremely finite. We're talking like it's you basically like what, like is it gonna be like 20? What are we gonna have? Like with 20? Like I don't know how many combos they're gonna have.
They stack in your inventory in the new soccer
how many they got?
tab,
How many they
which
got?
will also have your gems.
50?
And runes are tradable between other players who own Vessel of Hatred. And they unlock with a quest in the campaign, both runes dropping from as loot, but also rune crafting, which we'll get into later. And they drop at a higher rate in the Undercity, which is a specific place you can farm them. So now let's get into some clips here. We get to actually see it in action. So this is a Barbarian, and the rune of ritual they have is travel 5 meters.
Okay.
Very simple.
Okay.
And they're going to join that to the Earthquake, which is a legendary aspect that you've already seen before.
That's kind of fun.
100 offering.
That's kind of fun.
So you see, we'll put them together in this item. And then all they have to do is just run around. Boom, Earthquake.
It's gonna
Dropping.
be insane with the Paragon legendary glyph we just talked about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The earthquake train is leaving the station.
What I love about this is
But it's
it
gotta-
doesn't just count your
Bro, this is they're kind of like support, like super ultra basic support gems, like passive support gems. You can have like I'm guessing there's gonna be cock, for example, right? So you have to make like cock quake, right? Every time you crit, you have a chance to it generates like 10 offering or something. And after you've generated 10 offering, it casts 50 offering, it generates an earthquake, right? So for example, and then you sit there and there's going to be like cockquake, for example. That sounds fun.
walking, right? If you're leaping, if you're charging, that's all counting towards like the distance that you're moving, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
And you can see it here in like the whirlwind, for instance. Like it's obviously spawning earthquakes. So
Was that a Druid Petrify Ultimate? This must be the wrong clip. All right, sorry guys. We're doing it live. Let's just move on to the next one.
He used the Druid Petrify Ultimate, bro, with a rune wood? What the hell, bro?
Okay, so we have a Necromancer here with the Rune of Ritual, cast a non-channeled core skill, getting 25 each. And then this is a classic from D2, gain +3 to all skills. So you'll get to see this Necro's got five skill ranks for Reap and Sever.
Okay.
Then
gonna go up by 3.
Casual, socketable Harlequin crest, pretty good.
Dude, it's going to be like more damage, bro. What? He's going to get more damage.
So a little pew pew.
Oh my god.
Just doing your basic
What?
core skill usage.
Here we go. Here it comes.
Filling up the
shit.
offering needed.
Yeah, I really like the little tracking buff that fills up as you're getting it. So you don't need to really micromanage this. You can just at a glance see that, hey, I just filled it up, and now I get +3 ranks of Sever.
There it is.
Yep. So now you're
It's
at +3.
8, bro. It's 8 instead of 5.
What was that?
So yeah, this Necro's just cooking.
This is cool. This is cool. I mean, obviously it's gonna suck dick if every single one uses Giga Passive, and it's like, oh yeah, after you get this much offering, you get 20% more damage. After you use this offering, you get 20% more crit chance. After you use this offering, you get 20% damage reduction. If that's like our rune words we're using, and you're just using like a bunch of passive multiplicative damage increase and multiplicative damage reductions, that's gonna suck. Now, if you get to do like fun things like triggering earthquakes and triggering ultimate abilities and triggering other things, that sounds kind of fun. Like triggering, using a spell that has synergy with another spell, but you proc that other spell automatically by using your other spell. That sounds like fun.
And,
I just hope it's not passive buffs.
Is this another broken clip? Did they just cast teleport? What? Okay, I think you guys
teleporting Necros. What are you cooking over there, Jeevan?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Is this? Yep. So now you're at +3. There you go.
What was that?
So yeah, this Necro's just cooking, and oh, what? Is this another broken
Okay, so it's like a teleport on a cooldown?
clip? Did they just cast teleport? What?
As long as it's got a cooldown, I guess.
I think
it's got a cooldown, I guess. He's got a cooldown, I guess, bro. Turns evade into teleport, but you can't spam it, right? You can't just be like, because the thing about D2 was like, you'd be like, every character became the same character. They'd get that Enigma shit, and they'd all just start spamming teleport. And then it just removed like the teleport flavor from the actual teleporting class. Bro, that's what would happen. Have you watched Dr. Llama? Have you watched Dr. Lima Respect to do a speed run, bro? Whenever he's on a teleporting barbarian guy.
I think you guys
Teleporting
had a
necros. What are you cooking over there, Jeevan?
Yeah, I'll stop making jokes mostly. Yeah, so
Cool down 2
what we
seconds.
really wanted to lean
Requires
into with
500
B2 Rune Words, among other things, was the ability to cast other classes' skills and use their power and harness it into your build. So with Rune Words, you're going to get to do that. Each class is going to share 2 skills and 1 legendary aspect, like the Earthquake one that you saw. And some of them are even going to get to cast improved versions. So for instance, instead of the standard Decrepify from the Necromancer, you get to cast Horrid Decrepify, which is the upgraded version.
Oh, shit.
And that's we did that for a lot of reasons. We wanted to make some of them feel a little better and a little more powerful. And a lot of it is about balance. But one important thing that I always want to highlight here is that you always cast the best version of the skill if you have upgrades as the sort of home owner of the class, right? So what that means is, let's say you're a Spiritborn and you equip the Cry
you can
rune,
spec up,
which is the Vortex
level
spell.
it up.
If you have points into the upgrade,
Yeah.
then you'll cast the upgraded Vortex when the rune goes off.
Okay.
So I don't think there'll be any class envy. Like everyone will get the best version of their own skills, and then they'll get to use other classes' skills. And we're really excited to see how people can construct new builds and new archetypes and what they can do with using the power of the
Cloak Druid's petrified, stunning enemies and choosing after 500 offering. I mean, that does sound kind of strong, right? The what rune, bro? The what? I mean, wait, so yeah, because that cooldown 5 seconds only, bro. Petrified lasts for a few seconds, bro. The fuck? It's gonna be better, dude. You'll be better at petrifying the natural druids, straight up. The fuck?
Classes.
And that says enhanced Warcry, so that means Necros can become Berserk, right?
That indeed does mean that, and that Enhanced Warcry is a winner. I gotta say, that one's real strong. We've already seen people just chopping up the pit with that one.
Chopping the pit up, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to what kind of interesting new combinations and builds you can come up with by dipping into other class skills in unique ways. It really just multiplies the possibilities of what you can do with any given class.
Yeah, exactly. And not only do we want you to augment your builds with other classes' skills, but runes will scale with gear. So when you get more interesting runes of rituals, you'll find ways to optimize them as well and get more output. So we really feel like people will have a lot of theory crafting that they can build off of the rune word system.
There's going to be 2 or 3 really broken ways of generating offering, and it's going to be like cock or some sort of stun or some sort of low cooldown spam. And there's going to be some way to spam offering, right? And then you're just going to get the most overpowered effect or ability, and you're just going to mash it. Which, I mean, hey, that sounds kind of fun, bro. Sounds kind of fun if you can, if you've got a button that you can synergize. I mean, I don't know how many abilities. He said 2, which sounds not very much. So it sounds quite limited what you can do. But I mean, you imagine if you had if you could fucking support any ability, right? I mean, that'd be kind of crazy, bro. I mean, maybe they can do that in the future. Who knows?
I'm very excited to see how you break the game. By the way, that's what she's do on PTR for me. Just break the game. See every build you can find that totally destroys everything. So now we have the crafting element. So using 3 of the same rune, you can use them to roll a new rune. You go to the jeweler, or it might not be the jeweler.
3 to 1.
We'll see. And you will combine 3 of the same exact rune, and you'll get a new rune out that is guaranteed to be different than the rune you put in. And there's a chance to up-roll it to the next highest rarity. So if you put 3 magic runes in, there's a chance that it'll be a rare rune.
3 to 1 of spamming.
Same with rare. There's a chance that it'll be a
Stop
legendary
hanging
rune.
yourself, chat.
And then on top of that, we'll have the ability to craft mythic uniques. So you can use runes. Each mythic unique can be crafted with a specific set of runes. You'll need a legendary, rare, and magic runes of a certain quantity, and 1 resplendent spark.
Hey, bro. Yeah, you know what? Just fuck it. Let's just craft headhunters, bro, and let's just craft mage bloods, man. Let's log in. Hey, let's just let you craft them, bro. Fuck it.
And this is in addition to the existing mythic unique crafting flow.
Fuck it, bro.
So,
I was just going to say, this really harkens back to the sort of crafting that was so core in D2 with the runes of being able to match 3 and get the next upgrade, but in a way that's a little bit more flexible and gives you more progression out of it. And this is all tradable, right? So that match 3, those crafting mythic uniques, what do you think that's going to do with trading?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to really build a sort of player community around how to acquire the runes you need, whether it's because you want to combine, you have two and you want to find that third one to combine for a new one, or you're hunting for a specific mythic unique. I think we're going to have a lot of player interaction, and well, someone's going to win the capitalism game there, so we'll see how that goes.
I really like how...
Is trading not disabled anymore? I think they fixed all the dupes and shit, so you can actually trade now, or what's the deal? I thought they just... I thought, as I was aware, they completely disabled trading. Or is that not... Am I crazy?
The rune crafting system.
Oh, no, it's off.
So you're kind of always progressing.
You can trade again.
If you're getting
nice.
rune drops,
Nice.
then you're getting materials that you can use to progress towards higher rarity runes and potentially towards these mythic unique items. Unlike some of the other loot drops, if you don't find a good piece of gear, it just ends up being salvage. Here with runes, you're kind of constantly getting some of that progression, even if it's not always the perfect rune right now.
Yeah, I think that's something that when we did talk to a lot of sort of D2 diehards when we built
Jesus
rune words,
Christ.
and one of the
Are they
things
saying
that
yep now?
most of them tended to mention consistently was like
That's it,
every
right?
rune drop is progress,
Okay, fuck.
right? You're always moving up that ladder, and so we wanted to make sure that even if you didn't get the exact thing you wanted, it still meant something to you one way or another.
Well, I know we've talked a lot about a lot of stuff today. We had a progression, itemization. We talked about quality of life. We talked about class changes, and of course the newest thing, which is rune words, which will be in Vessel of Hatred. But the one thing we did want to quickly talk about was PTR. PTR is coming up, and we want to give a little bit, or at least some specifics on what that PTR test is going to be, and also hear from the team on exactly like what they're looking for from you guys out there that are playing, like for feedback as you guys play through the systems. Everything that we've actually talked about today is going to be present in this PTR. So all the class balance changes, the progression changes, rune words will also be part of the PTR. So we actually do want players jumping in and checking it out. So let's jump right into some of the PTR items.
Kinda
So
sad,
as everyone
bro,
knows.
because it's kind of sad because it's gonna like just pre-solve the entire thing. Fucking, they're gonna pre-solve. Bro, fuck, man. Can't they just not like? Can they just have like internal QA and then just fucking release that shit? It's gonna. I mean, the two abilities that we get with the rune words, people are gonna test every which way to combine them, and it's gonna be completely pre-solved. Like, you're gonna have a fucking Rax video explaining exactly which rune word to put on and why it's broken. I mean, dude, fuck. Dude. GGG does QA. You have like NDA testers and you're not allowed to like compete or whatever and whatever. I don't know. It's just like NDA. You can just get in the PTR and it's friends and family. And then they have the internal QA and then they just release it raw dog. They should do that. First 2 weeks here, first 2 weeks of the league, a big bug fixing. Leviathan, bro. No shot. I mean, some leagues, yes, have been heinous, but most of the time, it's fine. Most of the time, it's fine, bro. Okay. What? Dude. Any day, I will pick a little bit of scuffness, but everyone goes in blind. Over. Everything is completely pre-solved. And there's no mystery. It's any day. Any day. It's so much more interesting, bro. It's so much more interesting. Like NDA, the PTR or something. Fucking NDA and say if you're in the PTR, you can't make content about it or some shit. I don't know, dude. Fuck. Or just don't even, fucking, I mean, just hire more people forehead. Don't watch stuff, question. Like, it's dumb, though, because the fact that everyone knows it's the online multiplayer game, bro. You play SF anyway. Yeah, I mean, yeah, don't wrong. Hey, I do play SF anyway. Then don't wrong. It's one of those things where it's just another thing that adds up to making the game objectively worse because of the fact that there's no mystery, right? I'm just gonna be like, oh, I see. You get what I'm saying? Spam, don't get me wrong. It's not. I'm not even spamming. Don't get me wrong. It's like there's just in my opinion. I mean, this is obviously subjective. I think it's way better to not have big public PTRs and have people pre-testing all the new content, and then the content comes out because the content's no longer that exciting because it's already been done, it's already been beaten, all the items have been tested. To me, it seems it's just way worse. There's no like little. I mean, bro. In my opinion, even the patch notes, for example, like how crazy would it be if they didn't even show half the patch notes until later? I feel like it'd even be better. Like you don't even straight up see it because even then, patch notes plus POB plus theory crafting. I mean, they could even have it later, like the night before, bro. Straight up, that would be fucking crazy. That's how fucking crazy I am, bro, dog. Okay, but hey.
PTR from even the last PTR that we had will carry over content from your main account. So if you've already done all your renown, cleared your fog of war, your altar will status will carry over onto your PTR account. We did do a character copy as well. It was a while back though, so use next Wednesday, and we'll run through Friday out. We need players to jump in, check that out. The rest of the PTR, which will include things like one thing that players will be able to go and visit this specific vendor. This is the vendor, so your whole map, and then what's new now? Efficient. One more we actually get it ready, but all the other features within the game will be available. Infernal Hordes, as I mentioned, it's a permanent feature, so it's coming back to the game no matter what. And then separately, I do want to remind everyone that PTR right now it is still just PC Battle.net only. This does give us the flexibility of being able to upload, change things on the fly, like things like turning rumours on Friday, for instance, gives us we have the flexibility of being able to do that on
consoles are trash, bro.
So it's just easier for us to be able to have that additional work from our side to be able to make things like that happen when we can do testing specifically from that end. But Colin, Aislinn, I'd be really curious to hear like what you guys are looking for specifically in this PTR from feedback from players that they can focus in on and provide feedback on.
Bro, I think we're done, ain't you? I think we're done. I think that's it.
That should be much easier to navigate.
Awesome. And I know on the class side, like Charles, what are you kind of looking for? What's the team looking for?
Stoneburst, like
Fun or cool or unexpected.
Quickly from Twitch chat, I know probably the most popular question right now from the community is about armory, and I do want to start off with that specifically. And I do also want to just confirm that we are working on an armory. The team is cooking on it right now. We just don't have it ready immediately, but as soon as we have an update, we will be providing that to the community. There is work for an armory happening. We're not purposely ignoring it, I promise you. And it is in the work specifically from that.
Do they just mean an online way to view characters, or do they mean like a way to have item sets? What do they mean there? Loadouts. Oh, so they want loadouts. Okay.
I know we have questions from Twitch chat, so this is where I actually butcher everyone's name. So in standard fashion, I will continue to do that. It's just a little different now because I actually have a screen in front of me, which is actually really, really beneficial. But I guess we'll start off with a question regarding the different difficulty tiers. So this is from Double DHZ, which is since we now have 8 difficulties, does this mean with power increase in later seasons, more difficulties will be added? Are we planning on adding like 20 difficulties like in Diablo 3? Like what's the plans around that?
Yeah, we want to be really measured in terms of when we add difficulty tiers. I think it sets us up for adding them when we feel like it's an appropriate time. We don't want to get to a spot where we have 20 different difficulty tiers. We want to have just enough granularity to support the amount of power that we're adding. And what we don't want to do is sort of say, okay, we're going to add things like rune words or add things like seasonal powers and then nerf all of you by making the monsters 100% tankier to compensate for the power. We'd actually rather create a system that when you get that new power, we're going to add another band of difficulty to get even more efficiency out of that power. So that's been the sort of guiding light is we don't want to continue to sort of nerf players into a spot where they can sort of use all this new power.
That's like a psyop, bro. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, except it's just like psychologically it's easier to digest. Oh, they just added more in. I mean, they shifted the whole bar up. It went up anyway. But yeah, hey,
a great example of that is previously in seasons we would actually increase monster health to compensate for some of the seasonal powers. Now, if you get seasonal powers, if you're blasting penitent and leveling to 60 faster, good for you. Like that's something that we think is actually really important to the system.
Awesome. I know next question that we have, this is a question I've seen a decent amount. This is from Explosive Cat. Hopefully your cat is not exploding. What's the purpose of Nightmare Dungeons now that Glyphs have moved out of Pit?
Yeah, so Nightmare Dungeons are going to be where you receive your masterworking materials. And because Nightmare Dungeons are going to be following the difficulty tier system now, you're going to be able to go into higher torment tiers, or rather higher difficulty tier Nightmare Dungeons, and get more masterworking materials out of that. So just like all other kinds of content in the game now, being able to go into a higher difficulty of that activity is going to ultimately be better for you.
Yeah, the grind, sort of putting a grind currency actually fits much better in a Nightmare Dungeon compared to the Pit, because it means that every sort of elite you kill, every chest you open, or every corner you go into and you find an elite pack, those are going to be masterworking materials, as opposed to today, where it's like, well, the instant I make a turn that is not in the direction of finishing this dungeon has been a waste of my time because I want that glyph. That completely changes when everything in the dungeon is dropping masterworking materials, and we think that feels so much better for that type of content. Conversely, with the Pit, again, we're going to reward you for pushing difficulty, and we do want you to sort of get there quickly and get that reward and get out. So we think that'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, so just for people, because I think when they immediately heard like, well, now it's just moved to Nightmare Dungeons, and it's just at the end. It's actually part of the whole Nightmare Dungeon. It's not just the end goal, getting to the end and getting masterworking materials there. Just want to clarify for chat, because I know immediately
there's a good amount at the end, and you kill the boss, right? Of course, the boss has to have good shit, but like, what's really going to feel great is like when you run into a massive elite pack, like you just randomly run into, we spawn maybe too many. Those are all going to represent, little loot packs of masterworking materials, which is going to be huge.
Awesome. This question is from RT105. Are runes reusable?
Yeah. So, but I just want to say, chat. I've been reading Twitch chat, and what you said has struck a chord. Anyway,
whoa, struck a chord, bro? Is it like a good chord? Like a nice chord?
Yes, they will be reusable.
Can't take you anywhere.
You can unsocket runes and you can move them into different items. Yes, absolutely.
Damn, what the fuck? That's kind of OP. The fact you can just reuse them. I wasn't expecting that. I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
A few related questions to that. They don't get to exist in the same item as gems. You do have to pick between gems and runes on any individual item.
Awesome. I know there was a question related to another. Well, at least I don't know, Charles. You want to answer this, or if you have additional details? There's a lot of questions related to one of the mythic uniques, and it's additive damage to demons and angels specifically. I don't know if you want to talk about.
I will confirm that is the wording on the effect. plus damage to angels and demons.
There you go, guys. We'll just leave it at that. And
No further
I know, yeah, no further comment on that. Additional question that we have related to Paragon is why cap the amount of boards and instead of just capping maybe the amount of glyphs we can use? This is from Hot.
Wait, what? I don't get it. What is he saying? Wait, is it not angels? Oh, is that implying that we're going to be fighting an angel? Wait, do we fight an angel? You fight Lilith, who's a demon. There's plenty of demons. Fuck tons of demons. I guess Inarius is going to resurrect from the dead or something. Maybe, I guess, okay, so there's going to be some angel we're going to fight, dude. Pogus.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Something that I think we can take back and really think about. We discussed, and we felt like the cleanest solution from just sort of the flow perspective was that we wanted to just make it really sort of compact and make those choices about which glyphs and which legendary nodes and eventually what rare and magic nodes matter to you. But that's really good feedback and something we can continue to monitor as we go into PTR and as people get their hands on it. Again, it's really about making those boards more punchy, and the connections between those boards is something that you navigate during your journey. But the sort of endpoint is about making those really chunky choices on what glyphs you want and what legendary nodes you want. And we think that ultimately, especially now that Paragon is realm-wide and all your alts, I think we touched on that earlier, all your alts get to benefit from this. It's really going to streamline that process of getting your points locked in quickly on those alt characters and get them into the end game really quickly. But that's a really good point of feedback.
A question from WTF. I lack a lot. I don't see this is bad. You get the point. Well, everyone need to be in Kyovashad to change difficulty like it is currently right now.
That's a good question. We've added, actually, yeah, so you can imagine how obnoxious it would be to do the pit in Karagar and then have to go to Kyovashad to then unlock the new Torment tier that you just got. So we actually added difficulty tier selectors in Karagar as well as Kyovashad, in addition to Kyovashad. And then we also have one in Kurast, and there's also another one, I think, near the Dark Citadel entrance. We've added them in a few locations across the game just to make that a little bit of a better experience.
Question from a few people. There's like Corinter, there's another question from 9 Tons of Pain. Are glyphs kind of shared between all characters in the realm, or do they have to be leveled up separately?
So those are still leveled up separately, but that's something like going forward, we definitely want to emphasis on like making alts more seamless to play into, and we definitely there's some underlying feedback there, which is wouldn't it be great if the Paragon glyphs were account wide?
Pussies,
like, yeah,
want everything easy, bro.
We really want to start moving towards a direction where making alts is really easy to get into.
Bro, they're gonna have it so you level up one character. It takes 2 minutes to level the character up to max, and then you get full base gear. And actually, once you level one character up, it just gives you one of every character at max as well for free. That's what's going to be
powerful. That's something we can definitely take note of.
And also highlight that, right, because the Paragon points are shared account-wide or realm-wide, as it were. If you make a new character, you're going to get a ton of Paragon points right away, which increases your power level, which maybe means you take on a higher pit tier, and then you get the catch-up mechanic on leveling up those glyphs. So it's a little bit easier. You're also level up those glyphs as well, even if it's not 100% shared.
Yeah, that's very true. You can level them up really fast in the pit if you're pushing deep.
There is a question regarding Eternal Realm characters, like what happens to them when 2.0 kind of launches? What's the I'm assuming because they already have like 925 gear, if they're at max level, they'll be brought down to that new eye level that we had mentioned. Is there like any specific changes or anything, or is it kind of laid out exactly kind of how we presented?
Pussies, fuck those guys.
Oh, I can answer. We are doing some adjustments for those Eternal players who really like to play the game on one character. We wanted to make sure that there was new loot to chase. We also just needed to make sure that with the new character level adjustments, we sort of had to adjust the eye power of items now that the fact that the max character level is 60. In addition to our goals of really sort of creating more grounded numbers, it does mean level 50 is getting an eye power adjustment, as well as the affixes are being adjusted. But we are going to max roll every single affix that we adjusted power-wise. So, for example, if you get a 5, we're going to take those items and adjust them. We aren't going to re-roll those affix bands like if you had perfect affixes. We're just going to essentially max roll all of them within that band, so there's no feels bad about, I had this perfect item and you ruined it by readjusting it. But the sort of main takeaway there is we wanted to make sure in patch 2.0 that there was new loot to chase. We wanted to make sure that the new uniques had a place to sing, and that's all sort of in service to that for that type of Eternal player who really likes that sort of long-form progression.
Awesome. Question from Ice Panther. Rumors, are they applicable to all?
Fuck Eternal players, bro. Fuck them, bro. Brick all their items. Don't even get the max. Just divine off every item and say, get fucked, bro. Fuck their item. Dude, just delete their item. Bro, just delete all Eternal characters, bro. Straight up.
Weapons, are they restricted to specific types of equipment? Additionally, can gems be inserted into equipment with runes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be inserted into all types of equipment, so they're not restricted from being in uniques as long as you have 2 sockets for that unique. And to restate the slots that are available with 2 sockets, on base game it's 3. It's chest pants and 2-hander. We're also adding a second socket to helm, so we have 4 slots. And you cannot mix runes with gems in any item, and you wouldn't want to. You basically be losing the benefit of them.
Awesome. I know we have some questions related to like some co-op bugs. I will say that I've gone on like forums and Reddit and addressed them that we are working on them. I can tell you the team is most definitely working on them right now. Excuse me as I cough. Still getting over my sickness. And then I know this is actually I'm going to ask this because it's a fun question. Are there runes for G and then Vun?
Well, I mean, my narcissism certainly would let me do that, but I think we can't do that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, I would love to. But I will say, there are the runes have these sort of phrases.
I gotta go back, bro. G and what? I gotta go back, chat. I'm sorry. I'm gonna slow that down. I didn't understand the joke. I'm just slowing it down, bro.
Are there runes for G and then Vun?
G Vun. G Vun. Oh, G-Vun! See who?
I mean, my narcissism certainly would have let me do that, but I think we can't do that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, I would have loved to. But I will say, there are, the runes have these sort of phrases that they unlock when you actually compose the spells. And we have some, I think, fun references and Easter eggs to the great Diablo games of the past. And so hopefully that'll kind of make you smile when you see them.
Awesome. And then runes, are they stackable?
Yeah, they are stackable, and we've added a new tab for them as well. We have a socketable tab, so the runes, all your runes and gems will go there. So
there we go.
It'll be pretty good for your inventory.
Yeah, that would have been really messing with inventory if runes did not stack it, and now that they have their own tab. Yeah, and now they have their own tab, which is really cool.
Shit!
Cool. I know we are very over on time. So I do want to make sure that we let everyone go here so that they can eat, because we've now gone well past lunch over here in California. Just a reminder for everyone that PTR is actually going to be starting next Wednesday. We will have patch notes in the blog up immediately after the stream, specifically here, so you guys can check it out. Check out the patch notes. It's 17,000 words, a lot of words. So I apologize. I will say that for other locales, it might be until like early next week. Patch notes will be available. It just takes a while for us to localize on some of those, and it kind of came in a little hot. So we do plan on actually having that available in all languages. Just for now, they will be English only, and immediately after this specific stream. Again, PTR starts next Wednesday. We'll have 2 different phases. Wednesday through Friday will be that first initial phase where we need players jumping in, checking out the progression changes and testing all that out. And then starting on Friday for the rest of the week specifically, we'll end up having the boost vendor available where players can actually jump in and test out everything that they need to regarding rune words and all other things that are tied to endgame. I do want to give a huge thanks to everyone on this panel here: Colin, Aislinn, Charles, Jeevan. Thank you so much for going through a ton of information. I do want to also call out the rest of the Diablo team, because they have been doing a ton of work towards Vessel of Hatred and of course patch 2.0 and season 6. One thing we will say is that you guys actually haven't heard about season 6 yet. We still have information to tell you about season 6. We'll be sharing that more here in the coming weeks as we head towards launch. So there is still a seasonal theme and mechanic with season 6 that we'll be sharing here soon. So thank you guys, everyone, and thank you Diablo community for tuning in. Check out Diablo4.com immediately after the stream, and we'll see you guys in Sanctuary. Thanks again.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, we're ending with this. Best. I love it.
We can't forget the most important member of the team.
Shit, bro. There it is. Hey, do you know what? Yo, Devo's been pretty dog shit, right? No, Devo's been pretty dog shit, and there's been like fuck all. It's felt like fuck all to do and everything, and it's been super bad, super boring. Hey, with this new system coming in that basically turns D4 into D3 fully, at least you're gonna start a new character. There's gonna be a bunch of new items. You're gonna have a bunch of new uniques, got a new skill for each class. They've done lots of balancing. And then you got the torment levels to go through. I mean, it seems like it's gonna be like almost like a little D3 season, which that's fun. And how long are you gonna play for? I don't know, with the rune words, and then whatever the new season mechanic is, combined with the pit. That could be like maybe 3 days of gaming, bro. That could be like that could potentially be 3 days of gaming. Maybe even 4. I mean, you gotta remember, these other times that I played Diablo, it's been so like I've logged into my guy, I've just gone in and it's been like, okay, we've got the fucking blue hell tide. There's nothing else. I'm bored. Log out. Whereas this time, I think it's going to be, there's more to do, at least. There's more to do. You've got multiple forms of endgame. You've got slightly better scaling, and you got like that. You got your clear torment levels to just progress through, which I think, and then you got the rune word system, which I feel like it's going to get giga spoiled, and I don't really know how much there is to it. I mean, is it literally like you only get 2 abilities, or did I mishear that? If you get a bunch of different ways of proccing the rune words and a bunch of different effects you can proc, that potentially creates a lot of interesting combinations. To fucking modify the way your character plays, which sounds like it could be fun. I'll say it, chat. After watching this campfire chat, it's the most, like, this is the least bad campfire chat I've seen. The least bad. It's like it genuinely feels like, they're making steps to make D4 into D3, and D3 is better than D4, so then, that's a good thing. Because D3 was at least playable. Well, I mean, back in the day, bro, D3 was playable for like a week, man. Maybe even 2 weeks. Then they kind of changed it, and they keep patching it, and keep getting slower, and, they condensed it to the point where you could play it for like 24 hours, right? Whereas, D4 is a new game. They've got new content, new items, new rune words, all the new balancing changes. I feel like I feel actually slightly positive about this one. I would say that hey, maybe there's a few days of gaming in there, bro. Which is, I mean, we're talking the previous few seasons have been like, bro, you've had like 2 hours of gaming, 3 hours of gaming. And now we're talking days. That's huge. That's huge, bro. I just hope it doesn't everything get pre-solved and actually like, oh, there's only 2 fucking rune word combinations that are good. Everything else is shit. Actually, the new abilities all suck. And all we've got is the pit, right? Then that might just be like fucking gigabitch. But I feel like it has potential. I think it has potential. And then on top of that, with the Vessel of Hatred, all the new shit coming out, the Vessel of Hatred, they got like what? Maybe they've got some. They've got the new bosses. They're talking about how they've got, they're showing you they've got this like new mechanic here with the cooperative bosses. And they're saying they're adding in new bosses, and then you're going to get all these new assets with Vessel of Hatred. So we're talking like, oh, that's a campaign expansion, and then with the campaign expansion, they're going to have a bunch of new, boss fights and stuff like that. I feel like, I don't know, it won't just be Tomb Lord in a Nightmare Dungeon. It's, D4 got, hey, I think this patch genuinely looks like it's going to be the best state D4's ever been in. Again, what does that mean? D4 is pretty fucking dog shit. But I feel like that means that the game, it should be, interesting. Speedrun. What you're gonna understand is this, bro. If they made the game as good as D3, right? Which they're patching the game to be like D3, right? If they make the game as good as D3, okay. D3 was pretty good. And if it's still coming out with all new content and all new stuff and all new items, and they're giving us more ways to build a character and spec a character, and they're giving us more things to do in the end game, well, that's like, an expansion pack to D3, which is W, bro. As a D3 enjoyer myself. Okay, that's kind of W. Of course, I want them to innovate and do new systems and stuff, and they are doing some sort of new system. But hey, I was honestly expecting that campfire. Okay, I didn't even watch the campfire chat this time, because the previous one was so fucking bad and so demoralizing. It was just them yapping about like they've changed this by 10% and they've moved this by 10% and they've buffed this guy by 5%. And it was just like, whereas that one there was, we're actually redoing the systems, retooling all the stuff, we're rescaling everything. We're adding this feature in, we're adding that feature in. That was quite a lot of stuff. It's quite a lot of shit there, bro. Who cares about the shit after the 15th? I mean, whatever. What do you mean, who cares? I bought Diablo 4, bitch. No, okay, PoE 2 early access isn't until 11 weeks from now. This expansion is like before then, like a month before then. We're going to have fuck all to do then. If Diablo 4 gives us a few days of content, that's fun. Do you not want? What are you saying? You don't want like a few days of fun Diablo 4 gaming? Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe you could even get a week of D4 in. Maybe there could even be a week of D4. I know. A week. There could even be a week of D4. Like, how? I mean, with going through deep diving all the new lore, plus the new season mechanic, which they haven't announced yet, which could actually, dude, what if the new season mechanic's cracked? You don't even know, bro. You don't even know. Okay, homie. I mean, that Blizzard do like to front load their expansions. Generally speaking, that's what they like to do. You'll be like expansion, buckle content, expansion, right? So I feel like this will probably be one of the largest league mechanics we've seen. Time gate, yeah, well, yeah, you're right. Well, old Blizzard. I mean, yeah. Hey, anyway, maybe I'm being too positive. I feel like there's a chance that's going to be at least fun for a few days. After seeing that, and hey, log in, bro. I mean, I'm definitely going to be logging in. I mean, providing that no other game releases during it. I don't think there is. I don't think there is anything coming out as far as I can remember. I don't think there is fuck all coming out. So I think that's yeah. It's maybe a little bit more positively loaded towards D4 for the expansion. Wukong. What the fuck? I can't find Wukong, baby.